tied up in a bun. He thought of Mrs. Tokagawa's eyes that could capture one's soul, her cherry lips that were as beautiful as peach blossoms, and the seductive charm on her body. Zhou imagined himself roughly tearing Mrs. Tokagawa's clothes apart. Panting slightly, Zhou muttered to himself, "That witch." Zhou and Wang Shijuan slept naked for the whole night. Because Wang Shijuan wanted to go to school, the biological clock that formed a habit made her wake up very early. When the first ray of sunlight shone through the window in the morning, Wang Shijuan woke up from Zhou's embrace. Seeing Zhou's exceptionally charming and handsome face in the morning light, Wang Shijuan could not help but kiss the corner of his mouth. After that, Wang Shijuan crawled out from Zhou's embrace and put on her clothes. Zhou woke up when she lightly kissed him just now. At this time, he was holding his head and staring at the little beauty in front of the bed. "What are you looking at, idiot?" Wang Shijuan said somewhat shyly. "I'm going over. Otherwise, it would be bad if Aunt Yin saw it." Although the two families had lunch and dinner together, if Yin Tong and Lu Shiping saw her come out of Zhou's room in the morning, it would be hard to argue. That was why Wang Shijuan got up early and went through the sky garden to return to her room. After lying on the bed for a while, Zhou also got up to wash up. When he went down to the living room, he smelled a tempting fragrance coming from the kitchen. It was Zhou's favorite breakfast, skinny egg porridge and stir-fried noodles. Zhou thought Yin Tong was cooking breakfast, so he followed the aroma to the kitchen. "Mom, I'm making breakfast." But when he said that, he realized that the person in the kitchen was not Yin Tong. It was a young and graceful figure. It was Yin Qingqing. Yin Qingqing was wearing an apron and holding a spatula in her hand. She skillfully stir-fried the fragrant noodles in the pan. Occasionally, she would even flip open the pan of skin egg and meat porridge on the stove. She would use a spoon to stir it a few times to make the porridge even softer. At this moment, Yin Qingqing was like a virtuous and beautiful wife. Hearing Zhou shout, Yin Qingqing turned around and smiled at him. "Xiaohao, you're up? Auntie is in the toilet." This smile was like the morning light outside, making Zhou feel warm in his heart. He walked over and smelled the breakfast in the pot. He praised, "It smells so good. Auntie said that you like to eat skin egg porridge and 3 shredded stir-fried noodles the most, so I specially made these for you." Yin Qingqing's smile was like a flower. "Why don't you try this skin egg porridge? Do you still want some salt?" After saying that, she used a spoon to scoop some steaming hot porridge. She first put it close to her mouth and blew on it before sending it to Zhou's mouth. Zhou took a sip and felt that the warm fragrance not only filled his mouth, but also directly entered his heart. "How is it?" "Yes, it's very delicious." Zhou smiled. "It's good that you like it." As long as Zhou liked it, Yin Qingqing would feel very happy. "Cousin Qingqing, you are really good to me." Looking at Yin Qingqing, who was as gentle and caring as a wife, and thinking about how she put the heart knot she gave him under the pillow, Zhou felt a warmth in his heart. He heard Yin Qingqing nod at Zhou's nose. "Silly girl, if cousin didn't treat you well, who would she treat well?" Not long after, breakfast was ready. Wang Shijuan's family also came over. The two families gathered together to share this warm breakfast. Wang Zhongsai also liked to eat fried noodles. As he ate, he praised Yin Qingqing. "Sister Qingqing's culinary skills are really good. She can even catch up to Aunt Yin and my mother." Lu Shiping smiled and said, "When I was as big as Qingqing, my cooking skills were not as good as hers. In the future, whoever can marry Qingqing, it will be a blessing that they have cultivated for 3 lifetimes." "Oh right, where's Jiming? Is he still in Hunan?" Yin Tong thought of Xiao Jiming when she mentioned Yin Qingqing. "He is now in Yunnan." Zhou's voice was somewhat dull. He knew what his mother was thinking. She had always encouraged Xiao Jiming and Yin Qingqing to be a pair. Although Zhou was very opposed to it in his heart, he didn't dare to say it out loud. Because the matter of Li Ruolin last time had already made Yin Tong teach him a lesson. It was also because Zhou had a real relationship with Li Ruolin that Yin Tong had no choice but to accept the truth. If Yin Tong knew that he also had ambitions towards Yin Qingqing, she was afraid that he would not let her off so easily. At this moment, she heard Yin Tong blame him. "You two. You left Jiming there alone and did not let him come back for a while." Zhou said in his heart, "I deliberately didn't let him get close to cousin Qingqing. By the way, cousin Qingqing, last time I asked you to go to the hospital for a checkup. Did you go?" Zhou quickly changed the topic. "Hospital?" Yin Tong and Lu Shiping asked at the same time. Lu Shiping asked Yin Qingqing with concern, "Qingqing, are you not feeling well?" Zhou was talking about the last time Yin Qingqing experienced pain. Cousin Qingqing had a habit of experiencing pain before, so I asked her to go to the hospital for a checkup. After hearing Zhou's words, Yin Tong and Lu Shiping were very nervous about Yin Qingqing. Because they were both experienced people, they knew that this matter had a huge impact on girls. And Yin Qingqing saw it. It was very uninteresting for Zhou Hao to say this matter out loud. Fortunately, this place was not an outsider, and Wang Shijuan was of the same age as her, so she understood this problem very well. Although Wang Shijuan herself did not have this problem, some of her classmates in her class also had this problem. So she also knew how much pain this problem brought to girls. Yin Tong slightly blamed Yin Qingqing. Qingqing, you. That's true. Why didn't you tell Aunt? Aunt, it's fine. Yin Qingqing blushed a little and said, besides, I drank Xiaohao's medicine last time. It's much better now. This is a big or small problem. It's better to go to the hospital and check the insurance. Lu Shiping said. Yin Qing gently said, but I still need to go to the company to help you record the accounts later. Your health is more important. Yin Tong patted Yin Qingqing's hand. Zhou Hao suggested, Mom, Madam Lu, and you have things to do. Let me accompany cousin Qingqing to the hospital to take a look. You are not going to school? Yin Tong asked. Zhou Hao shook his head. Anyway, the results of the last exam have been out. I have passed all my subjects and have confirmed my degree. Thus, everyone agreed to let Zhou Hao accompany Yin Qingqing to the hospital for a checkup. Very soon, Yin Tong, Wang Shijuan, Wang Zhongcai, and the rest went to work and went to school. Only Zhou Hao and Yin Qingqing were left in the room. Zhou Hao helped Yin Qingqing clean up the bowls and chopsticks, and the two of them washed the dishes together in the kitchen. Xiao Hao, I don't like Mr. Xiao. Yin Qingqing suddenly said. Zhou Hao could not react in time. Did he make you angry? Yin Qingqing shook her head. No, I mean I like to be friends with Mr. Xiao. But I won't marry him. I'll tell Aunt later and tell her not to waste her energy on me. Zhou Hao finally understood. Yin Qingqing was telling him that she wouldn't like Xiao Jiming. Looking at Yin Qingqing's cute face, Zhou Hao could not help but ask, Cousin Qingqing, do you have someone in your heart? Yin Qingqing quietly glanced at Zhou Hao, then said in a very low voice, I said it last time. My body is not clean. You can't marry someone else. The subtext was that other than Zhou Hao, the culprit who destroyed her innocence, Yin Qingqing could not marry anyone else. An impulse surged in Zhou Hao's heart. He involuntarily moved closer to Yin Qingqing's side and softly breathed in by her ear. Cousin Qingqing. At the same time, he quietly placed his hand on her slender waist. Bang! Yin Qingqing's entire body trembled, and a porcelain plate in her hand fell to the ground and shattered. Zhou Hao saw that he had scared Yin Qingqing to such an extent and could not bear to do so he could only let go of his hand. Yin Qingqing also immediately squatted down to pick up the broken pieces of the porcelain plate. Zhou Hao was afraid that she would cut his hand, so he wanted to bend over to help her. Then he heard her call out softly. The index finger of her right hand was indeed cut by the pieces of the porcelain plate. Let me take a look. Zhou Hao grabbed her hand and saw a drop of blood on the tip of her index finger. He opened his mouth and held her index finger. Yin Qingqing trembled again and instinctively wanted to pull her hand back. However, she was grabbed tightly by Zhou Hao and could not pull it out. She turned her head and did not dare to look at Zhou Hao. Her face was flushed red. Seeing her like this, Zhou Hao had the urge to tease her. He deliberately used the tip of his tongue to lick her index finger. Yin Qing trembled lightly again. She glanced at Zhou Hao with resentment and bashfulness, as if she was a wife who had been wronged. After a long while, Zhou Hao finally let go of Yin Qingqing's finger. The wound on her finger had stopped bleeding, and the wound had disappeared. Zhou Hao's blood could cure poison, and even his saliva had very strong bleeding control. At this moment, the atmosphere between the two of them became ambiguous. Yin Qingqing felt that her finger was still numb, and it even reached her heart. Cousin Qingqing, where is the heart knot that I gave you last time? Where did you put it? Zhou Hao suddenly asked. Yin Qingqing was stunned and then said guiltily, I put it in the drawer, that's all. Zhou Hao took out a kinship knot from his pocket. Cousin Qingqing, the one you gave me, I have always kept it in my heart. Yin Qingqing was surprised and happy when she saw Zhou Hao keeping the treasure that she had given him. Her heart was instantly filled with happiness. She was afraid that Zhou Hao would really get angry, so she quickly said, Xiao Hao, the one you gave me, I put it under my pillow. So it's like that. That's good. I thought Cousin Qingqing didn't like the heart knot I gave you. Zhou Hao asked even though he knew the answer. No. I really like it. Yin Qingqing hurriedly said. The two of them were silent. There was a very strange and ambiguous atmosphere between them, but neither of them exposed this layer of paper. Zhou Hao also liked this feeling. Pure. It made people feel sweet and sour. After tidying up the kitchen, Zhou Hao accompanied Yin Qingqing to the hospital for a checkup. The Xiang City People's Hospital was nearby, so it was very convenient to drive there. It was only Yin Qingqing's first time doing such a checkup, so she was a little shy and nervous. She didn't say anything along the way. Seeing her like this, Zhou Hao smiled and said, "Don't worry, cousin Qingqing. It's just an examination. It'll be quick." Seeing Zhou Hao sitting in the driver's seat beside her, Yin Qing nodded slightly. With Zhou Hao by her side, it gave her a strong sense of security and made her less afraid. Soon, the two of them arrived at the People's Hospital. Zhou Hao held Yin Qingqing's hand and walked into the lobby on the first floor. He knew that Yin Qingqing should be going to the gynecology department for a checkup, so he went to register first. The gynecology department was on the third floor of the hospital. When the two of them went upstairs, they saw two women sitting in front of the gynecologist's room. Clearly, they were waiting for their turn. Therefore, Zhou Hao and Yin Qingqing also sat down on the row of chairs in the corridor and waited. The few people waiting there were married women over 30 years old. Moreover, they came alone. This made Zhou Hao and Yin Qingqing appear very abrupt. The few women looked at the two of them curiously. Zhou Hao was fine, but Yin Qingqing's face was red, and she felt uncomfortable all over. Seeing Yin Qingqing so nervous, Zhou Hao reached out his hand to grab her hand and showed her a gentle smile. When Yin Qingqing saw Zhou Hao's gentle smile, the nervousness and uneasiness in her heart was instantly swept away. Furthermore, she felt waves of warmth coming from Zhou Hao's wide and thick palm, directly entering her heart. Look at that young man. Don't tell me he brought that little girl here to be a stream of people. Zhou Hao heard a woman on the other side whispering to another person, "Young people nowadays are impulsive. They don't even know how to cherish their lives. After all, they are their own children. How can they be so cruel?" Another woman said, "Yes, yes, yes. That day, I heard from my sister that there was a girl over there who was only 15 or 16 years old and gave birth to a child. Children nowadays are really worrying. I am now teaching my daughter a lesson every day and not letting her interact with boys. If she accidentally makes me a grandmother, then it'll be difficult." Hearing the whispers of the two women, Zhou Hao felt a chill in his heart. He did not think that they would misunderstand that he had brought Yin Qingqing here to be a stream of people. However, even though he had heard the conversation between the two, he couldn't defend himself. This kind of thing was often more and more chaotic the more he explained it. It would even tarnish Yin Qingqing's reputation. Fortunately, Yin Qingqing could not hear the conversation between the two of them. Otherwise, she would be sad. At this moment, a woman sitting in the row of chairs, Zhou Hao and the others, smiled at Yin Qingqing and said, "Miss, this is your husband, right? How considerate. Nowadays, no man would be willing to accompany his wife to the gynecology department. Miss, you're so lucky." When Yin Qingqing heard this, her face immediately turned red. She secretly glanced at Zhou Hao and wanted to explain to the woman, "No, no." But because her voice was too soft, the woman did not hear it. Another woman also agreed. "Yes, yes, I asked my man to come with me to see the gynecology department. He always said that it is inappropriate for a big man to come to the gynecology department. Humph, humph. If he can't give birth to a child, he will blame me. Now, he is not willing to accompany me to the doctor." The wife on the other side said, "It's not entirely our woman's responsibility that we can't give birth to a child, right? Perhaps it's his own problem. You should let him go to the Department of Urology." Thus, these housewives began to talk animatedly. As they were all married, they were very open-minded when it came to talking. It made Yin Qingqing's face turn red. She lowered her head deeply and did not dare to speak. Zhou Hao smiled bitterly. As the saying went, 3 women could be compared to 100 ducks. What he said was right. In a short while, it was Yin Qingqing's turn to go in. Zhou Hao originally wanted to go in with her. But because Yin Qingqing could not put down her face and did not let him go in, Zhou Hao waited outside. Zhou Hao was tall and handsome, so Yin Qingqing left. Those housewives immediately surrounded Zhou Hao to ask questions. Many questions were very straightforward, with the intention of teasing Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao, this experienced man, could not help but blush. Suddenly, Zhou Hao thought of a question. Was the doctor who gave Yin Qingqing a checkup a man or a woman? Even though doctors had the heart of a parent, they did not need to be too strict when it came to men and women not being able to get close to each other. However, Zhou Hao had already regarded Yin Qingqing as his exclusive property. How could he let other men see Yin Qingqing's body? Even doctors would not be able to. "Xiao Hao, Xiao Hao." At this moment, Yin Qingqing's voice came from the doctor's room. Her voice was filled with fear and panic. A minute. Something really happened. Zhou Hao cried in his heart. In his previous life, he had seen a lot of news saying that some beast doctors used the excuse of checking and treating female patients, sexual harassment, and even violated female patients. When he thought about how Yin Qingqing might have encountered such a thing inside, Zhou Hao felt extremely anxious. He immediately rushed to the door, but found that the door was locked from the inside. So he shouted loudly, "Open the door! Open the door for me! Who's outside? I'm checking the patient. Don't disturb me." It was a well-built boy. "Xiao Hao, quick, save me." Yin Qingqing's voice was heard again, and it was accompanied by a sobbing sound. A minute. Zhou Hao exerted force in his hand and broke the lock of the door. He then kicked the door open. The situation in the consultation room made Zhou Hao furious. He saw Yin Qingqing sitting on the hospital bed used for examination. The clothes on her upper body had been taken off, leaving only a white bra, exposing a large piece of snow-white skin. The male doctor in the white robe still wanted to remove Yin Qingqing's bra, but because Yin Qingqing used her hands to protect her chest, she did not succeed. Yin Qingqing did not think that she would encounter such a thing. In her panic, her face was full of tears. When the male doctor heard the commotion at the door, he turned his head to look. When he saw Zhou Hao standing there with a furious expression, he subconsciously pulled his hand back. However, the evil person first pointed at Zhou Hao and scolded, "Where are you from? Didn't you hear me say that I was checking the patient? Get out of here. I'm checking your mother." Zhou Hao shouted and rushed over in the blink of an eye. He slapped the male doctor and knocked him to the ground. "Xiao Hao." Yin Qingqing also cried as she got off the bed and threw herself into Zhou Hao's arms. Her delicate shoulders shrugged. Zhou Hao quickly took off his coat and draped it over Yin Qingqing's body. He asked softly, "Cousin Qingqing, are you all right?" Seeing that Yin Qingqing only had her upper body taken off and that her pants were still intact, Zhou Hao felt slightly relieved in his heart. Yin Qingqing shook her head. The male doctor had let her sleep on the hospital bed the moment she came in. Yin Qingqing originally wanted to change to another female doctor when she saw that the doctor was male. However, when the male doctor said that the doctor had the heart of a parent, there were a lot of reasons. It made Yin Qingqing, who had soft ears, get into the hospital bed in a daze. However, when the male doctor came over, he took off Yin Qingqing's clothes and even let Yin Qingqing take off her bra. Although Yin Qingqing was still young, after these 2 months of training, her thinking had already matured quite a bit. He wanted to check on the gynecology department, so why did he take off the clothes on his upper body? So he immediately became vigilant and refused to take off his bra and put on his clothes. However, the male doctor stopped her and even wanted to forcefully take off her bra. That was why Yin Qingqing panicked and called Zhou Hao, asking him to come in and save her. Seeing Yin Qingqing crying miserably in his arms, Zhou Hao felt pity and anger in his heart. The male doctor who was slapped to the ground by Zhou Hao had a swollen face. He pointed at Zhou Hao on the ground and said, You dare to hit people? If I hit you, I will hit you. I still have to choose the day. F***ck your doctor's parents. I think you're a doctor's animal heart." Zhou Hao cursed and kicked him twice, causing him to cry out in pain again and again. It was also because Zhou Hao did not use his true strength that normal people would not be able to withstand it. The housewives outside were already surrounding the door. They had also guessed what the male doctor had done. They all criticized the male doctor's animal behavior and applauded for Zhou Hao. The relevant personnel from the hospital quickly rushed over and pulled Zhou Hao away. Although the male doctor had not really succeeded in violating Yin Qingqing, Zhou Hao had already started to have murderous intentions towards him. Therefore, Zhou Hao pretended to be pulled away by the people in the hospital. He secretly pointed at the air and used genuine auras to poke the male doctor's Achilles heel. The male doctor would only feel slightly numb, as if he had been stung by a mosquito. He would not be suspicious. However, he did not know that after Zhou Hao had pointed out the fatal point in his body, in less than half a month, the blood in his body would flow backward and he would die. No one would be able to find out the reason, and no one would suspect Zhou Hao. However, the director who pulled Zhou Hao away didn't ask the reason and just scolded him. "You dare to beat up our medical staff? Hurry up and call the police. Arrest this guy." Zhou Hao could guess at a glance that they wanted to protect their own people. After all, if they admitted that the male doctor molested the female patient, the reputation of the hospital would be greatly affected. However, Zhou Hao was not someone to be bullied easily. He said with a cold smile as he held Yin Qingqing in his arms, "All right, call the police and let the police take a look. How did the doctors in your hospital treat the patient?" At this moment, A doctor beside the director whispered into his ear. Director, this seems to be Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao? Who is Zhou Hao? The director did not even remember who Zhou Hao was. The doctor said, he is the hero of the incident in Yining Middle School. I saw him that time. He came with Mayor Gao to the hospital to see those injured people. What? Mayor Gao? The director was shocked, and then he remembered who that Zhou Hao was. At this time, the director of the People's Hospital also personally rushed over. He immediately recognized Zhou Hao, because after the incident in Yining Middle School, he also talked about Zhou Hao with Gao Holu. Gao Holu praised Zhou Hao and had left a deep impression on him. Immediately, the hospital director apologized to Zhou Hao. Comrade Zhou Hao, I'm really sorry. I apologize to you on behalf of the hospital. I'm really sorry. When the others saw that the hospital director had lowered his attitude, they became even more silent. The male doctor was also shocked. He thought to himself that his position might not be able to be guaranteed this time. He might even have to go to jail. He looked at the director for help. Dean, Shut up. Earlier, there was a patient who said that you had touched them when you were treating them. Now, you still dare to do such a thing. Our hospital is going to fire you. The director shouted angrily. Then he turned to Zhou Hao and said, Comrade Zhou Hao, we have already dealt with this doctor. Do you think this method will work? Do you want us to compensate you? Zhou Hao waved his hand and said, There's no need for compensation. Just give me a female doctor. No problem, no problem. The chief of the hospital replied hurriedly. After that, the hospital dispersed the crowd, and the housewives were also sent to another female doctor. The hospital director also specially arranged for a female doctor in her 40s to perform a detailed examination for her. Of course, Yin Qingqing's expenses in the hospital were waived today. However, Yin Qingqing did not allow Zhou Hao to stay outside. Instead, she let him accompany her all the way. Of course, Zhou Hao did not take the opportunity to peek at Yin Qingqing. There was a curtain between them, and Yin Qingqing and the female doctor were performing an examination here. Zhou Hao was on the other side, but Yin Qingqing stretched out her hand to let Zhou Hao hold the curtain, letting her know that Zhou Hao was beside her. During the inspection, neither of them said a word. In the entire room, there was only the sound of the metal instruments lightly colliding. After that, the female doctor used all kinds of electronic instruments to examine Yin Qingqing. After a long time, the female doctor finished her examination and said to Yin Qingqing, who had already tidied up her clothes, There are no more problems. Your uterus, ovaries, vagina, and other organs showed no signs of lesion. The reason for the pain is probably because of the lack of blood energy or the high workload. I suggest that you go and take a look at the traditional Chinese medicine. You should rest more normally, and there should be no problems. Yin Qingqing's face was red as she said softly, Thank you, doctor. Along the way out of the hospital, Zhou Hao held Yin Qingqing's hand while Yin Qingqing obediently followed by Zhou Hao's side like a little wife. Cousin Qingqing, you can rest assured now. You are very healthy. After returning to the car, Zhou Hao smiled at Yin Qingqing.
Yes.
Yin Qingqing nodded her head. When she recalled that when she was in danger just now, Zhou Hao would always rush over to protect her, causing Yin Qingqing's heart to soften. When Zhou Hao saw that Yin Qingqing had calmed down and was no longer unhappy about what had just happened, he heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. As for the male doctor who had been fired, he would definitely die in less than half a month after Zhou Hao had pointed out his fatal point. Zhou Hao sent Yin Qingqing back home and brewed a medicine for her to recover her blood and qi according to the prescription from last time. After Yin Qingqing drank the medicine and rested, he returned to the Galaxy Securities, because he said yesterday that he would introduce Su Lin to other employees. But when he came to the Galaxy Securities' business hall, Zhou Hao saw that Su Lin already knew all the employees, because Zhou Hao had yet to arrange a position for her. So at this time, she took advantage of her free time to sort out the company's files and information. Hee, looks like your employees are really worth it. Zhou Hao smiled at Su Lin. Boss, where did you poach Sister Su from? A female employee asked Zhou Hao. Sister Su knows more about the securities industry than us old employees. We all want to know if you poached Sister Su from other major securities companies. Zhou Hao saw that Su Lin had already received their praise on the first day she met these employees. He couldn't help but sigh at Su Lin's outstanding social skills. He smiled at the female employee and said, Yes, I am the one who poached Su Lin. She is also the one who took over your position. Idiot. Boss, you only know how to scare people. The female employee naturally knew that Zhou Hao was joking. Zhou Hao touched his chin and said to Su Lin, Let me see what kind of position I arranged for you. There were people in the other seats. If I randomly arrange you, I'm afraid it will be a waste of resources. The female employee just now said, Boss, we were just about to tell you. Jie said that he can't go to Hong Kong with you. His wife is sick, and he wants to stay in Siang City to take care of her. Oh, so it's like that. Is Jie's wife all right? Zhou Hao asked. Ajay was supposed to go to Hong Kong with Zhou Hao. He was responsible for passing on Zhou Hao's orders to the operators, and at the same time, he worked as Zhou Hao's secretary. It's nothing. It's just a normal gallstone. Just remove it from the incision. The female employee said, Boss, since Jie can't go to Hong Kong with you, Sister Sue will take over. We've talked about it just now. Sister Sue has been to Hong Kong before. Zhou Hao turned around and looked at Su Lin. Su Lin, are you willing to go to Hong Kong with me? Of course. The accommodation and food are all contracted by the company. They can also give you some subsidies and let you shop in Hong Kong. Su Lin nodded and smiled. You are the boss. I will naturally go wherever you want. Okay, then it's decided, Zhou Hao said to the female employee, then quickly find someone to help her settle the issue of the visa. After walking around the Galaxy securities once, it was almost noon. Zhou Hao went to Li Rulin's place to find her to eat. Seeing that Su Lin was still sorting out the information, Zhou Hao said to her, Su Lin, I will go and find Sister Lan to eat. You can come too. Oh, okay. Thus, Zhou Hao and Su Lin came to Yining Middle School together. There were only 3 minutes left before school ended, so Zhou Hao and Su Lin went to Li Rulin's dormitory before the students came out. Since Li Rulin did not have any classes for the last period, she had already returned early. Seeing Zhou Hao and Su Lin come together, she asked doubtfully, Huh? Why are you guys here together? Hee, Rulin. I have already become a member of your Zhou Hao. Su Lin smiled and said. Li Rulin was shocked. She thought Su Lin was bullied by Zhou Hao because of his affection. She more or less knew a little about it. Zhou Hao knew Li Rulin very well. When he saw her like this, he knew that she misunderstood. He hurriedly said, Sister Lan, don't misunderstand. I just hired her to my company. Only then did Su Lin know that she had made too much of a joke. She also immediately clarified, Rulin, I was joking just now. I meant that I have become Zhou Hao's employee. You must not misunderstand. Only then did Li Rulin smile and hit Su Lin. You stinky lass. There is no way to make a joke. You scared me to death. After a pause, she asked again, By the way, why did you suddenly come to Zhou Hao's company? What happened? It makes me angry. Hence, Su Lin told Li Rulin about what happened last night one by one. When she heard that Bao Qinyan actually wanted Su Lin to accompany that bureau chief to make money for the company, Li Rulin was also filled with righteous indignation. She was very supportive of Su Lin quitting that job. You did the right thing. It was fine if you did not want that kind of work. You can go to Zhou Hao's company and do it. You don't have to worry about it. At this time, Li Rulin raised her head and looked at Zhou Hao. Su Lin is my good sister. Don't have anything to do with her salary. Otherwise, I won't let you off. Sister Lan, don't worry. I will never squeeze the company's employees. Zhou Hao smiled and said, By the way, Su Lin is replacing another employee of my company now. She will go to Hong Kong with me in a few days. Yes, that's good too, Li Rulin said. After that, they left the instructor's dormitory and went to a restaurant near Yining Middle School for lunch. After ordering a few dishes, Li Rulin sighed and said, Actually, I also want to go to Hong Kong. Didn't I ask you to go with me previously? It's just that you can't put down your work. Zhou Hao said, Why don't you apply for a long leave from the school and accompany me to Hong Kong? That place is a world-famous shopping center. All women were attracted to shopping. Even Li Rulin, who was as gentle as water, was no exception. But even though she was moved, she still said, No, I can't leave them behind. Especially now that the middle school examination is getting closer and closer, how can I leave at this time? I have to be responsible for my students. How could a teacher like her, who had a strong sense of responsibility, give up her job for her own selfish desires? Especially now, this was a crucial moment for the students. Zhou Hao smiled bitterly at Su Lin and said, Look at her. For the sake of her students, she doesn't even want her own man. Li Rulin just wanted to say, Aren't you also my student? But thinking that Su Lin still did not know the other relationship between Zhou Hao and her, she swallowed her words back. I'll go to the toilet first, Zhou Hao said, then got up and walked towards the toilet. On the other side, Li Rulin also whispered to Su Lin, Su Lin, after you go to Hong Kong, watch that guy closely. Don't those Hong Kong female celebrities like to hook up with rich people? Zhou Hao is so young. Don't give him the chance to do whatever he wants. In the next few days, Zhou Hao wandered between Li Rulin, Wang Shijuan, Yinqingqing and Situ Jianying, and prepared to go to Hong Kong. Su Lin's visa was also settled with the help of Galaxy Securities. Zhou Hao and Su Lin went to Hong Kong by car after Shenzhen. After the Second World War, Hong Kong's economy and society developed rapidly. Not only did they become one of the four dragons in Asia, but they were also one of the richest, most economically developed, and the highest standard of living in the world. Hong Kong was an important financial, service, and shipping center in Asia. It was famous for its honest government, good public security, free economic system, and perfect law and order system. The changes in history had changed Hong Kong from a small fishing village with only 1,000 people to an international metropolis with the reputation of Pearl of the East. After coming out of the station, Zhou Hao saw Song Jiahao from the Galaxy Investment who came to pick him up. He was a young man in his 30s. He was originally working in the Galaxy Securities of Siang City. After Zhou Hao invested his funds into Hong Kong's stock market, Zhao Yuqin sent him to Hong Kong to help manage Zhou Hao's funds. When Song Jiahao saw Zhou Hao and Su Lin, he waved his hand vigorously. "Boss, I'm here." Zhou Hao walked over with Su Lin. Song Jiahao took the initiative to take their luggage and brought Zhou Hao and the others to a black Mercedes-Benz car outside the station. They saw pedestrians rushing around. When they came out of the station, Zhou Hao and Su Lin also saw the tall buildings outside. The streets were neat and clean, and even the air carried the unique smell of a modern metropolis. Zhou Hao looked up at the bustling sky and smiled. "Hong Kong, I'm here." This was not the first time Su Lin had come to Hong Kong. When she was in university, she had an exchange with the students of Hong Kong City University under the arrangement of her classmates. At that time, she, a girl from Yangzhou, had come to Hong Kong with the exception of this Pearl of the East. She was shocked by the scene here. Unlike the ancient beauty of Yangzhou and the thick political atmosphere in Beijing, Hong Kong had the modern atmosphere of a metropolis everywhere. After sitting in the car, Song Jiahao smiled at Zhou Hao and Song Jiahao in Cantonese. "Although I am not a local of Hong Kong, I still want to tell you that I welcome you to Hong Kong." Zhou Hao smiled and said, "You have learned Cantonese well." Since Zhou Hao was originally from the Pearl Triangle region, he naturally knew how to speak Cantonese. As for Su Lin, she had lived in Hong Kong for a period of time. So even though her Cantonese was not proper, it did not cause any communication problems. Song Jiahao said helplessly, "In Hong Kong, if you don't learn Cantonese, you will not be able to integrate into their society. Although we'll be back in 2 months, many people in Hong Kong still call us Big Gangs or Continental Cane." Zhou Hao held his head up and looked out of the window with an unfathomable smile on his face. "Let's wait and see. It won't be long before they rely on us, the continental challengers, to survive." When George Soros and the other financial tycoons attacked Hong Kong's stock market, if it wasn't for the support of China's powerful foreign exchange reserves, Hong Kong's financial market, which had developed over the past few decades, would have been destroyed. After the return, many Hong Kong businessmen went up north to invest in the domestic market. It could be said that after the return, the domestic market ensured the development of Hong Kong's economy to a large extent. By the way, boss, Miss Zhao officially registered the Galaxy Securities as the Galaxy Investment Limited Company in Hong Kong. She also moved her office to the Central Circle's Land Plaza. Song Jiahao started the car and drove towards the Central Ring. Zhou Hao said, "How much money have I invested in the future market in Hong Kong?" "It's close to 4 billion Hong Kong dollars. Song Jiahao said. "Speaking of which, all of our employees admire you, boss. From the beginning of this year until now, boss, your prediction of the rise and fall of the Hong Kong stock market is too accurate. We even suspect that you are manipulating the rise and fall of the Hong Kong stock market behind the scenes. Many employees want to learn from you, boss. As long as you can learn 10% of your skills, you don't have to worry about it for the rest of your life." Zhou Hao smiled. "I can't learn this. Most of the time, I rely on my own intuition to invest in it." Of course, he couldn't tell Song Jiahao that he had completely grasped the development trend of Hong Kong's stock market. But what he said was also the truth. His extraordinary intuition was able to win in the casino, so it was not a problem to predict the stock market. However, at least for 15 years, Zhou Hao did not need to use his superhuman intuition on the stock market. Su Lin only found out from the day she entered the Galaxy Investment that Zhou Hao controlled such a large amount of money. He had invested a few $100 million in Hong Kong's stock market at the end of last year, but it was not to buy the shares in Hong Kong's financial market, but to invest in the futures index. Because the futures index used a deposit system, it only needed to pay 5% to 10% of the deposit to carry out the transaction. Thus, it could give investors a small chance to gamble. The speed of making money was much faster and more than buying and selling at a low price in the stock market. However, the risk of futures was also much greater than ordinary stock investments. If one was not careful, one would go bankrupt. Su Lin had seen Zhou Hao's investment records in Hong Kong and found that he did not miss out on his prediction of the rise and fall of the Hong Kong stock market. According to his prediction, he would buy more and buy more. After a few times, the hundreds of millions in the past were rolling like a snowball. Now, it had increased by more than 10 times. At the same time, Zhou Hao still had a portion of his funds in the international futures market. The profits were even greater than Hong Kong's index. Zhou Hao predicted the prices of all kinds of international resources such as gold, aluminum, iron, and even cotton and soybeans. In less than half a year, he had accumulated nearly 1 billion USD. When Su Lin first met Zhou Hao in Yangzhou, she only thought that he was an ordinary rich man who owned a restaurant in his home. But after entering the Galaxy investment, she realized that the wealth in Zhou Hao's hands was enough to make him one of the richest men in the country. Furthermore, this wealth was not left behind by his family. It was earned by his own family for free. Therefore, even Su Lin, who was a strong woman who did not yield easily, had no choice but to accept Zhou Hao wholeheartedly. After passing through the bustling street, he looked at the hurried pedestrians and all kinds of shops on both sides of the street. Zhou Hao's heart was filled with anticipation and excitement for this Hong Kong trip because he wanted to double the amount of money in his hands and complete his goal of 10 billion US dollars. Very quickly, Song Jiahao carried Zhou Hao and Su Lin to the square in the middle ring. The Land Plaza was located in the central circle of Hong Kong, Baidu Street. It was connected to the Queen Street and the German supporting road. It was the heart of the central circle of the commercial district. The Land Plaza had 2 office buildings, a shopping mall, and a hotel. The building was built in the 1980s by the real estate company that owned many properties in the middle of the square. There were a total of 5 floors to the underground mall. It was a famous branded area in Hong Kong. The famous brand stores included Louis Vuitton, Dior, and GUCC. Zhou Hao's Galaxy Investment Company office was located on the 43rd floor of the Duke's building on the south side of the square. Zhou Hao originally wanted to set up the office in Phase 1 or Phase 2 of Hong Kong International Financial Center, but these 2 world-famous buildings had not been built yet. Phase 1 of the Hong Kong International Financial Center would only be completed next year, so Zhou Hao could only temporarily place the office in the square. However, the rent at the Land Plaza was not low, and it cost millions of HKD per year. When they went to the office through the elevator, Zhou Hao smiled at Su Lin and said, "When you have time, I will take you to those famous stores in the shopping mall downstairs. Count the expenses on me. The prerequisite is that you have an excellent job." Su Lin also smiled, "Boss. Then hurry up and prepare the money." When they arrived at the 43rd floor, Zhou Hao and Su Lin saw a sign on the wall in the front hall. In the middle was a pentagram, and there were 6 orbits surrounding it on the outside. Below the sign was written in silver words, "Galaxy Investment Limited Company." There was a young and beautiful female employee behind the counter in the front hall. She immediately stood up when she saw Zhou Hao and the others. She said in a dignified and respectful manner, "Hello, Mr. Zhou, Miss Su. Welcome to Hong Kong." Song Jiahao smiled at Zhou Hao. "This is our receptionist, a local from Hong Kong." Zhou Hao and Su Lin nodded at the girl and followed Song Jiahao in. The Galaxy Investment Office was very spacious, almost occupying the entire 43rd floor of the Duke's building. There was a large LCD screen on the wall of the office. It displayed the changes in Hong Kong shares and could change into the stock market of any other world financial center at any time. There were more than 30 male and female employees in the hall. They were the top talents that Zhao Yuqin had carefully selected. Among them were data analysts, stock analysts, financial engineers, investment consultants, sperm analysts, auditors, industry researchers, and so on. Some of them were found by Zhao Yuqin in China, some were from Hong Kong's local investment firms, and some were even from foreigner. They all knew that Zhou Hao would come to Hong Kong today. So when they saw Zhou Hao, they stood up at the same time and gave him a warm round of applause. They shouted in unison, "Hello, boss." "Hee hee. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone." Zhou Hao smiled and greeted everyone. "It's our first time meeting today, so I won't say anything unnecessary. I only hope that everyone can earn more money with me and build a prosperous tomorrow together. I adhere to the principle of working more than one. Whoever has the best work, I will give the most bonus to them. I believe that this year, the employee who gets the most bonus will be enough to buy a 1,000-foot mansion in Hong Kong. Yay! Long live the boss." The employees shouted excitedly. "Next, I will stop all investments in the international futures market and Hong Kong stock market, leaving 1 billion Hong Kong dollars as reserves. The rest of the money will be invested in the foreign and financial markets of Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, New Gambo, and other Southeast Asian countries. Zhou Hao said to the employees. One of the American male employees said, "But boss, the financial markets in Southeast Asia are very chaotic. We got the news that George Soros and the others are stirring up trouble there. If we invest our money there, I'm afraid the risk will be very high." Zhou Hao smiled and said, "The risk is accompanied by benefits. As the saying goes, when there is danger, there is an opportunity. It is because their financial market is in chaos that we are able to fish in troubled waters and profit from it." In fact, Soros's group of crocodiles had already set up in Thailand and other countries at the beginning of the year, in order to prepare for the violent profits from the financial market in Southeast Asia. I just want to follow their footsteps and make as much profit as possible while they are almost done with their preparations. In the future, the experts analyzed this Asian financial storm and came up with many reasons. The main reason was the impact of the international financial market on investments. Currently, there were about $7 trillion worth of liquid international capital in the global market. Once international speculators found out which country or region it was in, it would be profitable. They will immediately use hype to attack the currency of the country or region to obtain explosive profits in a short period of time. Another reason is that many countries in Southeast Asia do not have proper foreign exchange policies. In order to attract foreign capital, they maintained fixed rates on one hand and increased financial liberalization on the other, providing opportunities for international speculators. Just like Thailand, before the domestic financial system was sorted out, in 1992, the control over the capital market was abolished. This allowed the short-term flow of funds to be unimpeded and provided conditions for foreign investors to hype up Thai baht. With George Soros's Quantum Fund and Julian Robeson's Tiger Fund was led by a large number of international investors because of the financial deficiencies of Southeast Asian countries like Thailand. That was why there was a large-scale invasion. The financial markets of all Southeast Asian countries were in a mess. According to Zhou Hao's memory in his previous life, George Soros had joined forces with other international funds to attack the financial markets of Southeast Asia, which he had coveted for a long time, at the beginning of 1997. From the start, they had started to dump Thai baht, causing the Thai baht exchange rate to plummet. In front of the aggressive attack of the fund, the Central Bank of Thailand decided to enter the market and intervene, using about $12 billion to absorb Thai baht. On one hand, the exquisite local banks lent Thai baht to the offshore investors, and on the other hand, they increased their rates. With the help of the three banks, the Thai baht exchange rate remained stable for the time being. The first stage of this world-famous Asian financial storm started in June 1997. In June, the HPF once again launched a fatal attack on Thai baht. The Central Bank of Thailand had no choice but to withdraw its defenses because the $30 billion foreign exchange reserves had run out of ammunition and grain. 6th month, 30th day, the Thai Prime Minister promised on TV, "Thai baht will not depreciate. We will make those speculators lose all their capital." But just 2 days later, the Central Bank of Thailand was forced to give up the fixed exchange rate system and implement a floating exchange rate system. Just on that day, Thai baht suffered a 20% drop, followed by the president of the Central Bank of Thailand. Malacca announced his resignation. Until August. During this period, the HKD also attacked the Philippines' pesos, Malaysia's ringgit, and Indonesia's shields. In the end, the Southeast Asian currency, including the Singapore dollar, fell. It was now May, and it was time for George Soros and Julian to arrive. Robeson and the other big crocodiles launched their general attack, so Zhou Hao needed to hurry up and prepare. Compared to the hundreds of billions of dollars used by those tycoons, Zhou Hao's less than $2 billion was not enough to cause any big waves. Zhou Hao did not intend to stir up trouble. His goal was just to follow the footsteps of these crocodiles and fish in troubled waters. As for the destruction of the Southeast Asian economy this time, it was not within Zhou Hao's consideration. It was just like what George Soros had said to the media after the financial storm in Asia in his previous life. In terms of financial operations, it is not about morality or morality. It is just an operation. The financial market does not belong to the moral category. It's not immoral, morality doesn't exist here, because it has its own game rules. I'm a participant in the financial market, and I'll play this game according to the rules I've set. I won't violate these rules, so I don't feel guilty or responsible. Although George Soros's words were irresponsible, many financial experts in his previous life had come to the conclusion that the internal reason for the financial storm in Asia was because of Asia's poor financial economy. Even without the external help of George Soros and the others, the financial storm in Asia would still happen, and the impact would be much greater than in the real world. Furthermore, Zhou Hao's $1 billion and $2 billion could not stop George Soros and the others, nor could it stop the financial storm in Asia. Instead of this, it was better to use these funds to gain more benefits. The only thing that made Zhou Hao feel uneasy was the massacre in Indonesia in 1998. Indonesia was the last to be affected by Asia's financial storm, but it was the one that was affected the most. After their economic decline, the government intentionally incited them to vent their anger on the local people, leading to the infamous massacre. As most of the local Han were Indonesian, therefore, even though they were fellow citizens, China could not interfere in the internal affairs of other countries. This had once become a matter of anger and helplessness for the people of China. In his previous life, when Zhou Hao saw those horrible photos, his blood immediately boiled. He wished that he could go to Indonesia and kill all those Indonesian people to vent the anger of his fellow countrymen. Now that Zhou Hao had really been reborn, he would definitely not stand idly by and watch this matter. After making detailed arrangements for his employees, Zhou Hao summarized, "If everything goes smoothly, our funds will double or triple at the end of the year. Next year, the financial storm in Asia would affect the entire world. At that time, Zhou Hao would have more opportunities to fish in troubled waters. Boss, will Soros and Robeson really succeed? Now, the Central Bank of Thailand has already intervened." A local Hong Kong analysts were suspicious. Zhou Hao revealed a confident smile. "Trust me, the Central Bank of Thailand will not be a match for Soros. Think about it. Back then, even the British government was defeated by Soros. A mere Thailand can't even withstand a single blow." Seeing the confident smile on Zhou Hao's face, the employees were infected. In addition, Zhou Hao's prediction of the stock market for the past 6 months was simply miraculous. It made these financial elites have a habit of trusting him. After arranging the tasks, Zhou Hao returned to his office with Su Lin. Here, Zhou Hao had an independent office behind the office hall. The office area was close to 150 square meters. There was a row of large floor-to-ceiling windows over there. He could see the bustling streets of the middle ring below. There was even a lounge in the office for Zhou Hao to use. As Zhou Hao's secretary, Su Lin's desk was behind the door. At this moment, Zhou Hao sat in the large chair and sighed. "It's the first day that I'm the boss. I wonder if the people downstairs will believe me." Su Lin smiled and said, "You did very well. Just now, I saw them looking at you with admiration." When Zhou Hao assigned the tasks to the employees, his imposing manner as if he was a general who only knew how to fight on the battlefield, as well as his serious expression, all had a kind of incomparable charm. It was said that serious men were the most charming. Even Su Lin, who had just made a record for Zhou Hao, was captivated by Zhou Hao's unrestrained and confident appearance. Looking at the hurried pedestrians and the grand buildings around him, Zhou Hao suddenly stretched out his right hand and said to himself with a smile, "This pearl of the East, I will make it shine for me sooner or later." That kind of confident and even arrogant smile made Su Lin feel suffocated. It was as if she saw a lion roaring at the beasts below to establish its dominance. Zhou Hao turned his head and saw Su Lin was a little stunned. He scratched his head and smiled. "Haha, sorry, I am still too childish. If this is the case, I'm afraid it will make people laugh their teeth off." Su Lin smiled and shook her head. "No, I believe you will definitely do it. Oh right, since we are in Hong Kong, we have to pay a visit to the pier." Zhou Hao suddenly smiled. He took out a business card from his pocket. It was the business card given to him by General Liu Jinwu. Zhang Yingpei was now the deputy director of the Hong Kong Police Department, one of the top figures in the Hong Kong police force. It would definitely be good for Zhou Hao to pay him a visit. Furthermore, the number on the business card given by Liu Jinwu was Zhang Yingpei's private number. Therefore, Zhou Hao immediately dialed Zhang Yingpei's number. The person who answered the call was a woman. Those who had Zhang Yingpei's private number were not ordinary people, so the woman's attitude was very friendly. "I am his wife, Zhang Mingjiang. He is currently on the phone with the governor, so it is not convenient for him. How about this? I ask him to call you back later." "Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Zhang." Zhou Hao put down the phone after saying that. Su Lin, who was beside him, asked, "What's wrong? Does Director Zhang not have time?"
Yes.
Just as Zhou Hao said that, the phone on the table rang again. He picked up the phone and heard a calm male voice from inside. "Hello, I am Zhang Yingpei. May I ask if you are Xiao Hao?" Zhou Hao answered with a smile. "Yes, I am Zhou Hao. Hello, Chief Zhang. Hee, General Liu has already introduced you to me. He said that he will be coming to Hong Kong during this period of time." "Oh right, is General Liu all right?" Zhang Yingpei said on the phone. "He's still all right. He's busy with the matters of Liberation Army and is preparing for the return ceremony in 2 months' time." Zhang Yingpei said, "Xiao Hao, I should have treated you well in Hong Kong, but tonight I am attending a banquet for a Hong Kong official. Why don't I set up a family banquet at home tomorrow? I wonder if you will give me some face? Of course I will. Shall we meet tomorrow? Okay. See you tomorrow. After putting down the phone, Zhou Hao shrugged at Su Lin. Director Zhang is not free tonight, but he invited me to his house for dinner tomorrow. Su Lin, do you want to come with me? When Su Lin heard that Zhou Hao wanted her to go with him to Zhang Yingpei's house dinner, her heart suddenly moved, but she still asked hesitantly, Is this appropriate? If there is anything inappropriate, then it is decided. Zhou Hao laughed casually. But I only have some casual and professional clothes. I don't have any clothes for the banquet. Zhou Hao laughed and said, That's easy. Next is the shopping mall. Just go and buy. Anyway, I have nothing to do now. How about this? I'll go down with you to take a look. All the purchases will be mine. Su Lin covered her mouth and laughed. You are the boss. Do you want me to pay? Zhou Hao and Su Lin left the office. Song Jiahao asked, Boss, where are you going? Su Lin and I will go to the shopping mall downstairs for a stroll. Zhou Hao smiled and said. Song Jiahao wanted to tell them to lead the way, but he remembered that Su Lin had lived in Hong Kong for a while and should be a sensible person, so he did not mention it. Zhou Hao and Su Lin came from the elevator to the shopping mall at the bottom floor. They saw that there were all kinds of stores here. There were all kinds of clothing, daily necessities, and so on. There were also all kinds of new electronic products. Of course, these were still new electronic products, but in Zhou Hao's eyes, they were old antiques that he hadn't seen for a long time. It had to be said that Zhou Hao and Su Lin's appearances were extremely outstanding. They were typical handsome men and beautiful women, and they were especially eye-catching in the crowded shopping malls. The young men and women around them also cast their gazes on the two of them. They even thought that a certain entertainment company had found a new artiste to promote. Furthermore, in Hong Kong, young people were much bolder than those in China. Just as Zhou Hao and Su Lin came down, two young girls in school uniforms held hands and walked over to Zhou Hao. They smiled and said, Handsome, can you take a photo with us? Zhou Hao was slightly stunned. He did not expect that he would receive such treatment. Su Lin, who was beside him, could not help but laugh secretly. Okay. The Cantonese that Zhou Hao spoke was not much different from the locals in Hong Kong. It made the two girls even more intimate. One of them handed the camera to Su Lin and asked her to take a picture. Then, one of them hugged Zhou Hao's arms intimately and raised his hand to make a yeah gesture. Su Lin took a few pictures of them in succession. After taking the pictures, the two little girls even kissed Zhou Hao's face from left to right before leaving with satisfaction, leaving Zhou Hao with a stunned face. Seeing Su Lin laughing secretly, Zhou Hao brushed the hair in front of his forehead and said with a smile, Looks like I have the potential to be a celebrity. This is not a lie. Su Lin said sincerely. The two of them came to a shop that specialized in GUCC. There were both men and women's clothing inside. Su Lin's eyes lit up when she saw the dazzling fashion clothing. The salesperson in the store also enthusiastically introduced the clothes in the store to the two of them. Finally, Zhou Hao bought two men's suits here. Su Lin did not buy them because she could not see the appropriate ones. Then, Zhou Hao brought Su Lin to the Dior store on the other side. As soon as they entered the store, Su Lin took a fancy to the V-collar night dress. With Zhou Hao's encouragement, Su Lin went to the changing room and changed into this luxurious and beautiful evening dress. After coming out of the changing room, Su Lin, who was completely different, stunned Zhou Hao and the salesperson in the shop. This evening dress seemed to have been specially customized for Su Lin, completely revealing the noble and elegant temperament of Su Lin, especially that V-collar. It revealed the snow-white flawless skin under Su Lin's neck and the round and full chest shape. It was both sexy and not exposed. Miss, this evening dress is really suitable for you, the female salesperson said sincerely. Zhou Hao held his chin and stared at Su Lin, who was dressed in formal attire. That's right. It really suits you very well. You look really beautiful in this dress. Really? Su Lin felt as sweet as honey when she heard Zhou Hao's praise. Then this one. Zhou Hao said to the female salesperson, How much is it? The sales lady smiled and said, Thank you, sir. The converted cash is 188,800 Hong Kong dollars. Su Lin's expression changed when she heard the price. She quickly said to Zhou Hao, this dress is so expensive. I don't want it. Zhou Hao smiled and shook his head. It's okay. I already said I would pay. It's rare to find such a suitable one. He took out his wallet and suddenly frowned. He said to the saleswoman, I'm sorry, Mississippi. I don't have HKD cash. Do you accept RMB? The saleswoman paused for a second, and her smile became stiff. I'm sorry, sir. We don't accept RMB here. That won't do. Hong Kong is about to return, so you have to quickly add this service. Otherwise, how can it attract tourists from China? Zhou Hao lectured the saleswoman. Then, he took out a VIP Platinum credit card from his wallet and gave it to her. Luckily, I have the habit of bringing a credit card with me when I go out, otherwise I wouldn't be able to buy this dress. This is your loss. Seeing the VIP Platinum card from Huafeng Bank handed over by Zhou Hao, the female salesman's smile lit up again. A luxury store like theirs knew that these platinum cards could only be obtained by depositing at least tens of millions of yuan in the bank. At this moment, the female salesman looked at Zhou Hao even more passionately, wondering which big family this tall and handsome man belonged to. Such a man who was willing to spend money was the dream lover of these girls. At the same time, she also felt some jealousy towards Su Lin. After wrapping up the clothes, Zhou Hao and Su Lin left the store. Su Lin still felt a little uncomfortable and said, "Zhou Hao, this gift is too expensive. Why don't you give it to Ruolin?" Zhou Hao smiled and said, "Don't worry about Sister Lan. I will buy another gift for her. Don't worry about this dress. Just take it as my employee award in advance." Zhou Hao asked someone to send the clothes to the office and said, "I am hungry. Let's go and try the local delicacies in Hong Kong." Okay. Su Lin nodded happily. Therefore, Zhou Hao drove the black Mercedes-Benz out. In the car, Zhou Hao asked Su Lin, "You have lived in Hong Kong for so long. You should know where there is good food to eat." "Of course." Su Lin smiled and guided Zhou Hao. In Hong Kong, the best food to eat was not the high-end restaurants, but the tea houses scattered across the streets. Under Su Lin's lead, Zhou Hao arrived at a tea house called Shangji Tea Restaurant in Hong Kong. According to Su Lin, this Shangji Tea Restaurant had been open for more than 40 years and its food was very delicious. Su Lin often came here for breakfast when she was in Hong Kong. Her food included a lot of fresh oil, a lot of cream, pineapple bag, pineapple cream, and so on. The coffee and Stockings milk tea here were very fragrant and delicious. They were very famous in this area. There were a lot of people in the restaurant, and Zhou Hao and Su Lin still needed them. They also needed to set up a table with another young couple. Su Lin also ordered egg tarts, pineapple oil, and other food from Boschan. The food was quickly brought over. Su Lin smiled at Zhou Hao and said, "Quickly try it. I did not introduce it wrongly." Zhou Hao picked up an egg tart and took a bite. He felt that the outer skin was crispy and the taste of the egg was strong. It was very delicious and delicious. He smiled and said, "Yes, you really did not make a mistake in your introduction. It is really delicious." The two of them ordered Stockings and milk tea again. Zhou Hao felt that the Stockings and milk tea here were similar to his family's Mrs. Zhou's restaurant. They were both very fragrant and slippery. After all, the master and Mrs. Zhou's restaurant, who specialized in making Stockings and milk tea, had taken Hong Kong people as his master, so the taste was naturally very good. The Stockings and milk tea were one of the most famous main foods in Mrs. Zhou's restaurant. While the two of them were savoring the delicious food, Zhou Hao saw 5 young men in different clothes walk in from the outside. One look, and one could tell that these 5 young men were not decent people. Not only did they dye their hair in all kinds of colors, the clothes they wore were also not the same. There were many iron hoops on their noses, ears, and even their lips. With this kind of attire, it was as if they were shouting, "I'm a gangster," loudly to the people around them. When one of them came in, he suddenly reached out his hand and patted on the head of a male customer beside him, cursing with a fierce expression. "Look at your mother. Look, I've never seen a man before." The guest who got hit didn't dare to fight back or talk back. He just lowered his head, because he knew that ordinary citizens couldn't afford to offend these people. The gangster even scolded, "You like it so much. Go home and have a good look." And Bosch Chun from Shangji Tea Restaurant seemed to know these punks as well. He hurriedly put on a smile and greeted the man in the lead with a smile. "Brother Shun, what brings you here? Please come in. Rome, quickly bring a cup of iced milk tea for the few big brothers." Hearing Bosch Chun call them big brother one after another, these punks felt extremely satisfied with their vanity. The leading hoodlum, who was called Brother Shun, had red hair and looked to be in his early 20s. He casually swept his gaze around the restaurant and teased, "Yo, business is not bad. There are no seats left." The customers at the table in front of Brother Shun immediately got up to pay the bill and left. Bosch Chun also immediately packed up the table and gave it to the gangsters. Even the couple opposite Zhou Hao and Su Lin also left in a panic after paying the bill. When Brother Shun saw the beautiful and threatening Su Lin, his eyes lit up. He smiled and sat opposite Zhou Hao with a companion with dyed blue hair. Su Lin knew that these people were not to be trifled with, especially since they were not locals of Hong Kong. So when she saw the two punks staring at her without any restraint, She only felt angry in her heart and did not scold them. Brother Shun saw Su Lin lower her head and did not speak, and the smile on his face became even brighter. Pretty girl, why haven't I seen you before? You just moved into this district, right? My name is Jean Shun. Everyone calls me Brother Shun. Hee hee, from the looks of it, you seem to be from an office building, an elite. His gaze continuously lingered on Su Lin's beautiful face and her ample bosom. I know that there's a very good bar nearby. How about we go have a drink together? Sorry, I don't have time. Su Lin replied indifferently. The blue-haired gangster next to Jean Shun was unhappy. Hey, Stinky Samba. It's your luck that our brother Shun likes you. Do you know how many women here want to throw themselves at our brother Shun? We, Brother Shun. Don't even look at them. The few gangsters at the table beside him also agreed. That's right, that's right. After following Brother Shun, I guarantee that you'll have a face and a head on the horse. Why don't we call you Sister Shun from now on? Ha 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 ha. That Jean Shun glared at the blue-haired man beside him. Hey, how can you be so rude to this pretty girl? He saw that Su Lin's delicate hand on the table was flawless and flawless. It was more beautiful than any woman's hand he had ever seen. He couldn't help but reach out to grab it. However, Jean Shun's hand had just crossed the middle of the table. Before it touched Su Lin's hand, it was grabbed by Zhou Hao. Only then did Jean Shun raise his eyes to look at Zhou Hao, who was standing beside Su Lin. Actually, he had already seen Zhou Hao just now. However, even though Zhou Hao had an outstanding appearance. However, Jean Shun also thought that Zhou Hao was just a minor citizen who would never dare to provoke him. The blue-haired man next to him immediately glared at Zhou Hao and said, Kid, you're courting death. Our brother Shun also dares to touch it. However, he saw Zhou Hao looking indifferently at the two people opposite him and said slowly, I hope you guys don't be so impudent. It won't do anyone any good if you tear off all pretenses. Jean Shun and the blue-haired man hesitated when they heard Zhou Hao's words. Jean Shun asked tentatively, Brother, what do you think? Which path are you from? What about you too? Zhou Hao smiled coldly. Is it New Ian or the Alliance? The blue-haired man immediately said, We are all from the Alliance. Black Ghost, the tiger of the Alliance, is our boss. Jean Shun continued to stare at Zhou Hao with narrowed eyes. You haven't told me which organization you are from. If you were one of us, of course, it would be fine. If not, humph. I'm not one of them. Zhou Hao smiled and said, I am a proper citizen. D***M, you are messing with me. Jean Shun immediately stood up and stared at Zhou Hao aggressively. However, he heard Zhou Hao laugh and say, Calm down. The gangs can't be so impulsive. As he spoke, he looked towards the door. Jean Shun and Lan Fa could not help but turn their heads to look. They saw two policemen in uniform walking in from the entrance of the tea house. Jean Shun's expression changed, and the two police officers also saw them. The older one smiled and said, Isn't this Jean Shun? What? You're here to collect protection fees again. Do you want us to bring you back to the police station to collect them? Jean Shun hurriedly smiled and said, Officer Huang, why would we charge protection fees? Hee, you can ask Elder Chen if you don't believe me. Elder Chen, tell Officer Huang if we charge you protection fees. Then, Boss Chen hurriedly said, No. The two policemen smiled and looked at Jean Shun and the others. You'd better not cause trouble for us. Otherwise, we'll let you taste the taste of royal food again. Got it, Officer Huang. Got it. Jean Shun hurriedly said. Then why aren't you leaving? Do you still want the police to treat you to pineapple oil before leaving? Officer Huang said. Oh. Let's go. After saying that, Jean Shun brought his subordinates and left the tea house. But before he left, he even gave Zhou Hao a fierce glare. The two policemen ordered 2 cups of milk tea. Officer Huang looked at Zhou Hao and Su Lin, then smiled and said, Outsiders? Zhou Hao also smiled. Why do you think so? Officer Huang stirred the milk tea in front of him with a spoon. Because the locals know that those people cannot be provoked. Even if they call the police, they can't protect them for the time being. Zhou Hao saw that Officer Huang was almost 40 years old, so he must be very familiar with gangs. So he said, Hong Kong is about to return. In another 2 months, the Liberation Army will be moving into Hong Kong. Why are these people still so arrogant? Officer Huang smiled and said, There are gangs everywhere. It's not like we can get rid of them if we don't return. However, many gangs are now afraid of being suppressed after returning, so they've been restraining themselves a lot during this period of time. However, if you take a step back in the pugilistic world, others will take a step further. When some gangs see that others have restrained themselves, they think that it's time for them to develop and become even more unscrupulous. The spoon in his hand lightly touched the edge of the cup. The English club is the East Star that we usually refer to. Speaking of which, East Star has a long history in Hong Kong. It is one of the top gangs in Hong Kong. However, their current leader, who was called Uncle Fatty, Fong Bing Run, could not see the situation clearly. He was not afraid of being suppressed by the mainland after he returned. Instead, he took advantage of the situation of Exine Ian and 14Ks. As they restrained themselves, they expanded wantonly. Weren't those few hoodlums from the East Star just now? Thank you for telling me all this, Officer Huang. Zhou Hao smiled. It's nothing. Officer Huang waved his hand. It's just that you offended them. It might be troublesome in the future. How about this? If there's anything you need, come and find me. This is my business card. I live in this district. As he spoke, he handed a business card to Zhou Hao. On it was written the words, Huang Qi, and below it was the sign, Senior Police Officer. Seeing this name, Zhou Hao smiled in his heart because Huang Qiji was a very famous police officer in Hong Kong movies. Officer Huang and his colleagues only came to have afternoon tea. They left after more than 10 minutes. Su Lin also said to Zhou Hao, we offended that group of people. Will there be any trouble? We are not afraid of trouble. Zhou Hao smiled and said, at most, Chief Zhang will appear. Thinking about it, they would not dare to make things difficult for Chief Zhang. If they still can't do it, I will personally eliminate them. Su Lin thought that Zhou Hao saying that eliminating them was just a joke, because the smile on his face was very relaxed. However, she didn't know that if Jin Shun and the others really annoyed Zhou Hao, he would really eliminate them. Where are we going next? Going back to the company? Su Lin asked. Of course not. We have nothing to do when we go back to the company. Besides, it is still early. Zhou Hao said. Oh right, Zhou Hao, where do we live in Hong Kong? Su Lin suddenly asked. Zhou Hao smiled. All the employees from China live in the apartments arranged by the company. As for me, I live on Half Mountain. Su Lin was slightly shocked because she knew that Half Mountain was Hong Kong's most famous mansion district. Most of the wealthy people in Hong Kong had properties there, including many movie stars. Zhou Hao indeed had an independent 3-story luxury villa in Banshan, which Zhao Yuqin had bought for him previously. The previous owner was a wealthy businessman in Hong Kong's media industry, but because he wanted to immigrate to England, he sold all the properties under his name. Back then, Zhao Yuqin spent 120 million Hong Kong dollars to buy this villa, so that Zhou Hao could have a place to stay when he came to Hong Kong. The wealthy businessman also gave him an extra 5 million Hong Kong dollars Porsche sports car in the garage of the villa. But it's a waste for me to live alone in such a big house. Zhou Hao said to Su Lin, what about you? Do you want to go to the employee apartment or the Half Mountain? However, it does not seem right to live alone with a man and a woman. Su Lin naturally wanted to live together with Zhou Hao in her heart, but she had this problem that Zhou Hao was considering. She also smiled and said, it does not matter, unless you have ulterior motives towards me. Rulin and I are good sisters. Don't take the opportunity to bully me. Besides, before coming to Hong Kong, Rulin told me to look after you properly. She was reminding Zhou Hao and herself. When Zhou Hao called back to the company, he knew that Song Jiahao had already sent his luggage to the villa in the middle of the mountain. As for Su Lin's luggage, Zhou Hao had not arranged it yet, so it was still at the company for the time being. Therefore, Zhou Hao asked Song Jiahao to send Su Lin's luggage to Half Mountain, while he went to Half Mountain with Su Lin. The most famous noble residential area in Hong Kong in the middle of the mountain was located between the peak of Taiping Mountain and the Middle Ring. The people living there were all wealthy people. The Half Mountain range was close to the commercial center of the central bank office. It was convenient for transportation and could enjoy the beautiful scenery of Victoria Port. There were a lot of trees surrounding the area, and the air was very fresh. It was very difficult to find one in the Hong Kong urban area. Among them, Dijing Garden was the most famous mansion in the Half Mountain area. The clubhouse inside was as luxurious as a 5-star hotel. As for the wealthy people in Half Mountain, most of their properties were only rented and not sold. If not for the fact that the wealthy businessman in the media industry needed to migrate to England, Zhao Yuqin would not have been able to buy it so easily. When they drove to Taiping Mountain and saw the luxurious villas on both sides of the road, Zhou Hao and Su Lin both sighed at the wealth of Hong Kong people. Especially in Hong Kong, this metropolis, it was worthy of being called the inch gold ruler. The phenomenon of housing slaves and holed up in a house appeared much earlier than in China. Zhou Hao's villa was located on a treasure land with mountains and seas behind it. It was a luxurious European-style villa, and the total area of the villa was more than 1,000 square meters. The garden outside was also very spacious. There was also a large swimming pool behind the villa. A black Porsche sports car was parked there quietly, like a sleeping beast. Including the front door, the lock of the villa was electronic and needed a password to open. This password was only known to Zhou Yuqin, and the property management company responsible for the security and management of the villa. Walking into the villa, Su Lin was shocked by the luxurious attire in the villa, and Zhou Hao was also very surprised. The luxury of this villa was even more than the palace on the West Mountain of Beijing, and it was even more human-like. Many places were designed from the perspective of the owner, so that the owner of the villa could live a more comfortable life. The owner's room was on the third floor of the villa, taking up almost half of the space on the third floor. There was also an advanced surfboard massage bath and a sauna. The master's room balcony could also see Victoria Port at the foot of the mountain. It was the unrivaled diamond sea scene. Zhou Hao, this place is too beautiful. It's even more beautiful than a 5-star hotel. After walking around the villa, Su Lin finally realized what a mansion was. Every toilet in the villa was bigger than the room of the owner of an ordinary house. Even the toilets were shining brightly like a piece of art. Zhou Hao smiled at Su Lin and said, "Other than the owner's room, you can choose any other room?" "Really?" Su Lin said excitedly. "Then I want the room on the second floor. I like the bathtub." There was also the swimming pool behind the villa. The blue pool water was very attractive, making people have an impulse to swim in it. As Hong Kong was in the subtropical climate, the temperature in May was more than 20 degrees Celsius. It was very warm. Su Lin usually liked to swim, so she said to Zhou Hao, "Why don't we go to the swimming pool?" "But do you have a swimsuit?" Zhou Hao asked. "There are a few swimsuits in the wardrobe on the second floor. The size is very suitable." Su Lin had a very good figure and was born to be a clothing rack. A normal size was suitable for her. It was only slightly past 4 o'clock, and the afternoon heat had yet to dissipate, so Zhou Hao nodded in agreement. It was also very convenient for him. He could directly go into the water with a pair of beach pants in the closet in the room. Because it would take more time for women to change their clothes than men, when Su Lin went to change her clothes, Zhou Hao had already arrived at the pool. In fact, in his previous life, Zhou Hao only learned how to swim after he graduated from university. He saw him standing by the pool, lightly jumping into the water. The cool feeling made him feel very comfortable. Zhou Hao was like a vigorous swordfish in the pool, splashing water. The two sides of the pool were more than 20 meters long, but it only took Zhou Hao 10 seconds to swim from one side to the other. That was why he thought that with his speed, he would be able to participate in the Olympics. Even the flying fish Phelps might not be a match for him. After swimming a few rounds in the pool, Zhou Hao had just come out of the water when he saw Su Lin come out of the house. This caused Zhou Hao to be stunned. He saw Su Lin wearing a milky white swimsuit. Under the brilliant sunlight, Su Lin's snow-white skin glittered. Her slender waist and buttocks were extremely alluring. Her pair of long and slender legs also made Zhou Hao's eyes go blurry. There was also a pair of towering jade peaks on her chest that supported her swimsuit tightly. On top of it was an incomparably enticing cleavage. Furthermore, when Su Lin walked out, she was very graceful and graceful. It could be said that every step she took was filled with lotuses, like a celestial goddess. "How is it? Does it look good?" Su Lin asked Zhou Hao, who was swimming to the side of the pond with a bit of shyness. "It looks so good." Zhou Hao praised her and looked around at his surroundings at the same time. Because the villa was high up, no one should be able to see what was happening at the pool. At this time, Su Lin did some warm-up exercises there and went down the ladder by the pool. Su Lin, who went down the water, was like a mermaid. Her movements in the water were as graceful as a mermaid. Moreover, her body was very soft and showed great tenacity. Zhou Hao deliberately held his breath and dived into the water. He could see Su Lin's sexy swimming posture. It was a very pleasing sight to watch. The two of them stayed in the pool for about half an hour before they went ashore. There were a few long benches beside the pool. The two of them lay on them and enjoyed the brilliant sunlight. Zhou Hao rested his hands on his head and his eyes were tightly closed as he basked in the sun. He did not know that Su Lin was secretly watching him from the side. Su Lin, who had changed into a swimsuit, was an extreme temptation to men. In fact, Zhou Hao, who only had a pair of beach shorts on, was also an irresistible temptation to women. Because Zhou Hao was strong to begin with, and his constitution had been modified by the amber fruit, his figure could be said to be the best among men. His tough muscles were not deliberate at all. They were carved with gentle lines, and his slightly tanned skin showed his male charm. Su Lin, who was standing beside him, looked at the tall and handsome Zhou Hao. She could not help but feel her face turn red and her heart beat fast. Zhou Hao, the sun is a little fierce. Can you help me apply sun oil? Su Lin held back her shyness and asked. Zhou Hao was stunned for a moment. Then he saw Su Lin's beautiful body that was still stained with drops of crystal droplets. His heart felt hot. Just as he was about to agree, he suddenly remembered that they were Li Ruolin's good sisters. If they did this, it would be too easy to get into trouble. Hence, he suppressed the anger in his heart and said with a somewhat dry throat, "It's getting late. Let's go back to the house." After saying that, he stood up and went back to the house. Su Lin was disappointed and ashamed when she heard Zhou Hao's direct rejection. She had mustered up her courage just now to dare to say that. Now that Zhou Hao rejected her, she was worried. Would Zhou Hao think that she was a casual woman just like that? With this uneasiness, Su Lin returned to the villa. She saw that Zhou Hao had already changed his clothes and smiled at her. "It's getting late. Let's cook. I'll let you see my cooking skills. We'll go to the city center to take a look tonight." Su Lin was relieved when she saw Zhou Hao's normal expression. After changing her clothes, she saw that Zhou Hao was already preparing dinner in the kitchen. As the fridge had long prepared fresh ingredients, it was also very convenient to cook dinner. And what Zhou Hao was cooking now was the ginger, onion, soy sauce chicken that he was best at. There was also the simple and delicious fish head tofu soup. Su Lin had also trained a good craftsmanship in college, so she helped Zhou Hao wash the vegetables and cut the meat. Seeing Zhou Hao's skillful movements by the furnace, Su Lin could not help but sigh in her heart. He even knows how to cook. This kind of man is really too outstanding. Su Lin had just met Zhou Hao not long ago, but Zhou Hao had displayed many outstanding qualities. Not only was he tall and handsome, but he was also strong enough to protect the women around him. He was also talented and outstanding. In just half a year, he had created a huge fortune, and he did not have the airs of a rich man. He was kind, and now he even knew how to cook. This was simply the Prince Charming that all women dreamt of. If he had only been envious of Li Ruolin previously, Su Lin could not help but feel jealous of this good sister of hers. Under the cooperation of the two, dinner was prepared very quickly. Although it was just a simple side dish, the two of them also ate it with relish. "How is it? The soy sauce chicken I made isn't bad, right?" Zhou Hao asked proudly, as if he was asking for a child's reward. Su Lin smiled and nodded. "It's delicious. It's even better than those housewives with decades of experience." Zhou Hao smiled and said, "Of course. At that time, I thought that if I want to marry a good wife, I have to have good food. I don't dare to say anything about other dishes. This soy sauce chicken, even my mom's cooking can't compare to mine." After hearing Zhou Hao's words, Su Lin couldn't help but say, even if it wasn't for this good dish, there would still be a lot of people willing to be your wife. Seeing Zhou Hao's expression change, she hurriedly smiled and explained, "What I mean is that you are so outstanding. No wonder Ruolin likes you so much." "Oh right. Where are we going to play later?" Zhou Hao said, "Yes, the most famous place in Hong Kong is Longueuil Lane. Why don't we go there later? I heard many foreigners are there." Longueuil Lane is a short, narrow, L-shaped alley between Yun Shiyan Street and Tokiji Street in the middle of Hong Kong. In Hong Kong, other than luxury hotels, there's a lot of independent bars. Hong Kong was not big, and there were many bars. The Longueuil bar was rich in small funds, and the bar was filled with colorful lights, like the Nine Dragons Sandmouth. They were all the areas where the bars were concentrated. However, the most famous and unique bar area was none other than the Longueuil bar. Zhou Hao and Su Lin drove the black Porsche to the famous Hong Kong red light area. As soon as they entered the Longueuil Lane, Zhou Hao found that the atmosphere here was completely different from that of the central circle. There was a shopping street paved with pebbles. There were bars and restaurants on both sides of the street that were filled with European flavors. There were also those sexy, charming, young, and beautiful women on the street, as well as foreigner, who had all kinds of skin colors. Zhou Hao could even smell the faint scent of alcohol floating in the air. Su Lin also looked at this strange street curiously. When she came to Hong Kong in the past, she had never been here before. This time with Zhou Hao, it was the first time she saw this famous Longueuil store. "Let's go." Zhou Hao smiled at Su Lin and curled his right arm like a gentleman. Su Lin smiled and nodded. She held Zhou Hao's right arm and the two walked into the bright room together. The two of them chose a bar called California. The door of the bar was not big. The signboard was made of blue neon lights. However, when they walked in, Zhou Hao found that the size of the bar was not small. It could accommodate hundreds of people. The lights inside were very dim, and they were mainly blue. It gave people a dreamlike feeling. A mellow black and blue song drifted in the air above the bar, creating a relaxed atmosphere. Most of the people in the bar were young, and the oldest was probably not more than 40 years old. There were also many foreigners among them. There was also an open space over there. As the dance floor of the bar, a couple of men and women were slowly twisting their bodies along with the melodious music. Their bodies emitted an ambiguous smell of alcohol. Welcome. This is your first time here, right? The bartender behind the bar smiled and greeted Zhou Hao and Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao and Su Lin followed the voice and saw that the bartender was a young black man in his 20s. There was a very friendly smile on his face, revealing the black man's unique, sparkling white teeth. Zhou Hao and Su Lin were both very surprised, because the black man just said very authentic Cantonese, which sounded no different from the locals of Hong Kong. Seeing the expressions on Zhou Hao and Su Lin's faces, the black man smiled and said, I grew up in Hong Kong since I was young. Hee, my name is Wallace, the boss of this California, and also the bartender here. Hello, my name is Zhou Hao. This is my friend Su Lin. Zhou Hao smiled and shook hands with Wallace. I have never seen you guys before. Today is your first time here, right? Wallace said. Su Lin nodded. Yes, we came from China. We heard that Longueway Lane is very famous, so we came to take a look. Yes, Hong Kong will return to China in 2 months. Now, many people from the mainland have come to Hong Kong to do business. Wallace smiled and said, Since this is your first time here, I will treat you to a drink. Consider it my first meeting gift. After saying that, he very skillfully made a tequila with ice. However, this tequila was different from other places. It was blue. Wallace smiled and said, I added blueberry juice inside to make it taste better. I call it the Blue Tune. You guys can try it. Zhou Hao covered the mouth of the cup with a cup pad and knocked the tequila on the table with force. When the foam came up, he drank it all in one gulp and then let out a long sigh. Not bad, not bad. Seeing Su Lin looking at him doubtfully, he smiled and said, What's wrong? This is how the tequila drinks. On the other side, Wallace also laughed. Yeah, so Mr. Zhou is a veteran. Hence, Su Lin copied Zhou Hao and knocked the glass of tequila on the table, then picked it up and drank it all in one gulp. However, she was obviously not good at drinking. Once she drank the glass, her face would be as red as an apple. Zhou Hao asked Wallace, Hong Kong is about to return. What do you think? Or do you think that other Hong Kong people will leave Hong Kong and migrate to other countries? Wallace smiled. Actually, many people have asked me this before. Some of my friends even persuaded me to leave Hong Kong, because they don't know if Hong Kong will be able to maintain social stability after returning to China. But, he said to Zhou Hao, I know China, and I have confidence in China. Hong Kong has freedom of speech and a healthy legal system. It uses English, and it also has a series of financial, trade, and talent advantages. Coupled with the one country two system and the protection of the basic laws, Hong Kong's future will definitely be bright. Zhou Hao also smiled. He raised his glass to Wallace and said, Then let's drink to Hong Kong's bright future. All right, cheers. Wallace picked up a glass of beer and clinked it with Zhou Hao's glass. At that moment, an American man in his 20s walked over and sat beside Su Ting. He had a warm smile on his face and asked in English, Miss, can I buy you a drink? Su Lin was slightly stunned. She did not expect foreigner to be so proactive and come over to chat with her so quickly. But she heard Wallace say to the white man, Let's go, Jim. Don't you see that he has a partner? The man called Jim shrugged his shoulders and said in half-cooked Cantonese, Maybe he's just an ordinary friend. If there's a chance, I can't miss it. Then he looked at Su Lin again. Miss, how is it? Can I have the honor? Su Lin smiled and shook her head. She politely said, Thank you very much for your good intentions, but there is no need. Although Su Lin rejected him, Jim still treated her and Zhou Hao to a drink in a gentlemanly manner. Wallace smiled at him and said, If you want to pursue a lady from China, you should first practice your Mandarin well. The two of them were obviously close friends, so they started to tease each other. Zhou Hao saw the man and woman on the other side slowly twist their bodies under the music. So he said to Su Lin beside him, Su Lin, let's go dance. Dance? But I don't know how. Su Lin hesitated. I don't know either. Come on. Zhou Hao jumped off the chair and pulled Su Lin's hand towards the dance floor. Su Lin could not convince Zhou Hao, so she could only follow him obediently. Different from other disco halls, the men and women here only moved their bodies naturally with the music. They only showed romantic feelings and did not show that impudent madness. Zhou Hao pulled Su Lin to the dance floor and placed his hand on Su Lin's shoulder and waist. He let Su Lin put her shoulder on his shoulder and the two of them slowly danced back and forth. That blue song was very soft, and there was also a kind of laziness that made people feel very relaxed. Facing Zhou Hao, who was very close to her, Su Lin only felt her heart beating wildly. She had stepped on Zhou Hao's feet several times. However, under Zhou Hao's gentle smile, she gradually put down her nervousness and enjoyed this romantic music with Zhou Hao in peace. The two of them danced on the dance floor for a while, and then returned to chat with Wallace. Wallace was a very good friend and also very enthusiastic. He chatted with Zhou Hao and the others about the interesting things in Hong Kong and his views on Hong Kong and China. Because Su Lin was not good at drinking, she changed it to orange juice later on. It was almost 12 o'clock at night when they came out of California. Zhou Hao smiled to Su Lin, who was beside him, and said, "Tonight is not bad, right?"
Yes.
Su Lin nodded and said, "Wallace is a very good friend. We will talk to him another day." Zhou Hao's Porsche was parked on the street outside. The two of them walked towards the street together. When they passed an alley, they suddenly heard an argument from inside. "Let me go. I don't want to go back with you. Let me go." It was a clear and melodious female voice. Zhou Hao felt that this female voice was somewhat familiar, and he didn't know where he had heard it before. Looking into the alley, Zhou Hao saw that it was the back alley of the Longueway Lane. In the depths of the alley, a few men were heavily surrounding a man and a woman, and the man in the lead was still tightly holding onto the woman's hand, refusing to let go. The man beside the woman also shouted, "Hurry up and let go of Vivian. Otherwise, I'm going to call the police." Although this was a man, his voice sounded very sissy, making people suspect whether he was gay or not. When he took out his phone to call the police, it was suddenly snatched away by a man beside him. "I told you to call the police." After saying that, he fiercely threw the phone onto the ground and smashed it into pieces. However, Zhou Hao discovered that the man who snatched the phone was actually the Jin Shun that he and Su Lin met in the afternoon at the magnificent tea restaurant. "Su Lin, go and drive the car over. I will go over and take a look." Zhou Hao handed the car keys to Su Lin. "Be careful." Su Lin knew Zhou Hao was good at fighting. Although she was worried about him, she still followed his instructions and walked towards the car. After that, Zhou Hao walked into the alley and took out a metal rod from the garbage bin beside him. "What are you guys doing? Stop and rob me." Zhou Hao shouted as he walked to those people. Those men were startled by Zhou Hao's sudden shout. Jin Shun and his men turned around and looked at Zhou Hao. When they saw Zhou Hao, Jin Shun sneered. "Heh, it's you." Although there was no light in the alley, Zhou Hao could still see the face of the woman whose hands were grabbed. He was stunned. Because this woman was Liang Xiaobing, a very famous artiste in Hong Kong. In his previous life, Zhou Hao liked her very much. Liang Xiaobing was born in Macau. In 1990, she entered the entertainment circle by participating in the Hong Kong Miss and obtaining the third place. When she was running for the Hong Kong Miss, Liang Xiaobing accidentally dropped her hat on the ground because she was performing the changing of the hat. However, she did not panic in the face of danger. She sat on the ground and made a hand holding her cheek pose to complete the performance. This very professional way of dealing with it was done by one of the judges, the movie star Zhou Ruanfa, Sister Hong, who had the most talent in acting. After Liang Xiaobing was selected as the Hong Kong Miss, she starred in many television dramas and movies. She was good at many types of roles and plays. One of them included Ching Ching in Full Moon Machete and Chatroom No. 2, Aang In, Green Leaf Fairy, and Cha Zhai, Xian 14th Mother in The Drunken Flower Red Dust. In his past life, Zhou Hao liked Liang Xiaobing very much, especially Liang Xiaobing in the ancient costume scene. She felt that she was a classical beauty with a very elegant temperament. When she announced that she was going to marry another actor, Chun Jiahui, Zhou Hao even bought 2 cans of beer and got drunk in the dormitory. At this time, Liang Xiaobing was wearing a dark yellow silk shirt and a simple and beautiful pair of jeans. Although it was not as beautiful as the classical dress, it still made Zhong Ling look very delicate and beautiful. Even the anxious and panicky expression on her face looked so charming. As for the sissy male companion beside her, it was a man in his 30s. He wore a red shirt and tight-fitting jeans, and his 2 hands were curled up like little chicks. Just from his appearance and demeanor, Zhou Hao could tell that this person was definitely a comrade, and he should also be Liang Xiaobing's manager. The one who grabbed Liang Xiaobing's hands was also a man in his 30s, but his appearance was more ferocious. There was a small centipede-like scar at the corner of his left eye. He turned his head and looked at Zhou Hao. He saw that Jin Shun seemed to know Zhou Hao. He asked in a hoarse voice, "Jin Shun, do you know this guy?" Jin Shun said, "Boss, we've met this kid in the mascot. He looks down on the people of the East Star. If it wasn't for the fact that Huang Qi, that royal dog, happened to pass by, I would have crippled this kid." Hearing what he said, Zhou Hao guessed that the scarred man should be the boss of Jin Shun, the black ghost who claimed to be the tiger of the United Ing. Liang Xiaobing saw Zhou Hao. Although she did not say anything, her bright eyes were clearly telling Zhou Hao, "Save me." Regarding this idol from his previous life, Zhou Hao naturally wouldn't stand idly by. However, the manager beside Liang Xiaobing said, "Little brother, quickly go and help us call the police. Why are you here alone? This is too dangerous." There were 6 people in Jin Shun's group. He thought that Zhou Hao running in alone was like hitting a stone with an egg. He might as well help them call the police. Zhou Hao stared at Black Ghost and said, "Did they offend your association? They still owe you money." Black Ghost did not even look at Zhou Hao. He said to Jean conveniently, "Quickly deal with that kid. We still have to go back and report to Uncle Fei." "Got it, boss." Jin Shun answered excitedly. He took out a beef knife that was more than 20 centimeters long from his waist. The few gangsters beside him also took out iron sticks. "Be careful." Liang Xiaobing on the other side could not help but shout at Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao looked at Liang Xiaobing and nodded at her, telling her not to worry about him. At this time, Jin Shun had already raised his knife and rushed towards Zhou Hao in a threatening manner. However, when he was still about 1 meter away from Zhou Hao and was about to swing his knife at Zhou Hao, he saw Zhou Hao wave his right hand and the iron stick hit the beef knife in his hand. Dang! Under the tremendous force, the beef knife immediately flew out of Jin Shun's hand and flew to the side. With a chi sound, it stabbed into the wall next to him and went straight into half of the knife. Before Jin Shun could react, a fist that was getting bigger and bigger appeared in front of him. It was Zhou Hao's fist that landed on his face. Not only did it break his nose, it also knocked him off the ground and into the garbage bin behind him. After dealing with Jin Shun, Zhou Hao did not delay and kept swinging his staff. There was a crisp sound of ding-dong-dong, and those few punks were all beaten to the ground by Zhou Hao. They moaned and could not get up. This time, not only Black Ghost, even Liang Xiaobing and her manager were stunned, feeling that the scene just now was even more exaggerated than filming. The manager even looked at Zhou Hao with shining eyes, wondering if he was a martial master from some company. His subordinates were all knocked down. Black Ghost quickly reached into his arms and took out a black star pistol to point at Zhou Hao. Liang Xiaobing exclaimed and wanted to reach out to stop Black Ghost, but was stopped by her manager. "Xiaobing, don't go. It's very dangerous." She saw that Zhou Hao was still calm and collected when facing the gun. Instead, he smiled and said, "If you shoot, you will attract the police. I'm afraid you will have to stay in the police station for a while." Hearing Zhou Hao's words, Black Ghost's expression became hesitant. After all, although they were gangsters, they did not dare to go against the police. But after hesitating for a moment, he felt a sudden pain in his hand. The black star pistol was taken away by Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao weighed the black star pistol in his hand for a moment, then he swung it violently and threw it onto the wall, causing the black star pistol to break into pieces. After that, Zhou Hao raised the iron rod in his hand and pointed it at Black Ghost. He slowly said, "I want to take these 2 people away. If you agree, I won't hurt you in the slightest. Otherwise, I will send you to the funeral home." Black Ghost had roamed the streets for more than 10 years. He had never been threatened by such a young man. His expression kept changing as he stared at Zhou Hao while gnashing his teeth. "Do you know who you have offended? Let me tell you, you have offended not only me, but the entire East Star." "So what if it's the East Star?" Zhou Hao sneered. "If you want to get even with me, I will gladly accept it. However, if you really want to find me, ask Fong Bingrun to come here personally. Don't waste my time on the other small fries." Seeing that Zhou Hao also knew his boss, Black Ghost suspected that Zhou Hao was from another gang. So he asked, "Which gang are you from? Leave your name behind." "My name is Zhou Hao. I'm not from any gang," Zhou Hao said lightly, then said to Liang Xiaobing and the sissy manager, "Come here." Liang Xiaobing glanced at Black Ghost, then walked around him to Zhou Hao's side. Her manager also hid behind her, but did not dare to look at Black Ghost. "Vivin, think about it carefully. You can avoid it for a moment, but you cannot avoid it for the rest of your life. There is no need to implicate others." Before he could finish, Black Ghost was hit in the head by the iron rod thrown by Zhou Hao. He screamed and fell to the ground. Zhou Hao scolded, "If you say one more word, I will pack you up and send you to the funeral home." Holding his bleeding forehead, Black Ghost, who was sitting on the ground, did not dare to make a sound. Zhou Hao also walked out of the alley with Liang Xiaobing and her manager. Just as he walked out, he saw Su Lin driving his Porsche over. However, the car was very slow, and Su Lin was also very careful in the car. Stopping the car in front of Zhou Hao and the others, Su Lin got out of the car and said to Zhou Hao, "Sorry, because the driver's seat of the cars in Hong Kong is on the right side. I am not used to it." "It's all right." Zhou Hao smiled. At this time, Liang Xiaobing bowed to Zhou Hao and said sincerely, "Sir, thank you so much for what you did just now. You're welcome. When you see injustice on the road, you naturally have to pull out your sword. Oh no, it's to pull out your staff to help." Zhou Hao imitated the vigilante on TV and smiled. The manager beside him said worriedly, "What should we do about this? Those people are definitely blocking our way. Where are we going tonight?" "If you don't mind, I have a lot of guest rooms there." Zhou Hao smiled and said, "Well, sorry about that." Liang Xiaobing also knew that she could not return to her home tonight. But she had just met Zhou Hao and went to his house to sleep just like that. It would be terrible if the reporters took pictures of it. On the contrary, her manager agreed readily. "That's great. Handsome, thank you very much." After saying that, she even winked at Zhou Hao. Seeing this man's coquettish eyes, Zhou Hao could not help but shiver, but he still forced a smile and said, "You're welcome." Since Zhou Hao's Porsche was a double-seat car, he couldn't drive Liang Xiaobing and the others. Luckily, Liang Xiaobing's car was parked nearby, so Zhou Hao let them follow his car. Liang Xiaobing drove her Toyota Jeep and followed Zhou Hao's Porsche. Wang Wei-wen, the manager, was watching Zhou Hao's sports car from the side. He tried to see Zhou Hao's back through the glass behind the Porsche. "Vivian, who do you think that Zhou Hao is? He is so handsome and so good at fighting. Look at his Porsche. I'm afraid it'll cost a few million. But I've never heard of any tycoon in Hong Kong called Zhou Hao." Wang Wei-wen said. Liang Xiaobing rolled her eyes at him. "I haven't mentioned you yet. Why did you agree so quickly just now? You are not reserved at all." Suddenly, she narrowed her eyes and looked at Wang Wei-wen. "Wait, I'm afraid you don't like him, right? So what? He is so tall and powerful. How can I not like him?" Wang Wei-wen put his palms together on his cheeks and said with an intoxicated expression. However, he heard Liang Xiaobing say, "Don't say that I'm hitting you, but I think he seems to be a man with normal sex. I'm afraid you won't have a chance." When Wang Wei-wen heard Liang Xiaobing's words, it was as if a bucket of cold water had been poured on his head. His entire body drooped down. Following behind Zhou Hao's Porsche, Liang Xiaobing and the others quickly arrived at the mansion area half a mountain. Wang Wei-wen leaned on the window and looked at the palaces and mansions outside. He exclaimed, "So he lives here. He must be very rich. Whoa, he is young, rich, righteous, and handsome. He is really a prince on a white horse." Liang Xiaobing, who was beside him, exhaled. "I only hope that he is not like those second generations." "I don't think so. He doesn't look like one either." Wang Wei-wen said, "But even if he is the second generation, he is still better than that fat uncle. If you have to choose, you must serve one of them. Are you going to choose Zhou Hao or fat uncle?" Liang Xiaobing glared at him and suddenly felt a little worried in her heart. Just now he offended the East Star in order to save us. I hope our matter will not implicate him. Wang Wei-wen's eyes lit up as he said, "Speaking of which, the way he scolded Black Ghost just now was really too mighty and handsome. Oh my, what should I do?" Xiaobing's heart started pounding when she thought of him. Liang Xiaobing shook her head helplessly. "I think you are even more infatuated than those women." At this time, Zhou Hao had already opened the door in front and let Liang Xiaobing drive in. "Huh, isn't this the villa of the boss of Asia Weekly, Gong Tailiang?" Wang Wei-wen recognized this villa, but I heard that Gong Tailiang seemed to have migrated some time ago. Could it be that Zhou Hao bought this villa from him? After parking the Toyota Jeep, Liang Xiaobing and Wang Wei-wen followed Zhou Hao into the villa. As an artiste, Liang Xiaobing had the opportunity to attend the parties held in her private mansion. However, none of the mansions she had been to could compare to Zhou Hao's. It was an eye-opener. Zhou Hao said to Liang Xiaobing and the others, "I don't have any maids here. You two can do whatever you want." Su Lin, on the other hand, was very considerate and made 2 cups of coffee for Liang Xiaobing and the others. She also invited them to sit down. "Mr. Zhou, don't worry. Wei-wen and I will leave after one night here. I won't disturb you for too long." Liang Xiaobing said to Zhou Hao, "Also, I am really grateful to you for today's matter. If there is anything I can help you with, just tell me. Speaking of which, there is really something I want to ask Miss Liang to help me with." Zhou Hao looked at Liang Xiaobing with sparkling eyes. Liang Xiaobing was slightly shocked when she saw Zhou Hao's gaze. She was afraid that Zhou Hao would make some excessive request. Zhou Hao took the pen and paper and said to Liang Xiaobing, "Miss Liang, actually, I am your fan. Can you give me an autograph?" Liang Xiaobing was stunned and then laughed. Yes, yes, of course, no problem. She was just worried that Zhou Hao would make some excessive request, but she did not think that it would be such a thing. Furthermore, most celebrities would be very happy to see their fans asking for their autographs. Immediately, Liang Xiaobing very readily signed the autograph for Zhou Hao. Looking at the elegant Liang Xiaobing, Zhou Hao felt a wave of young admiration for his idol in his heart. Being able to come into contact with his idol from back then made Zhou Hao feel a wave of excitement. According to Zhou Hao's memory from his previous life, the current Liang Xiaobing should have just finished filming the Wireless Television Limited's Chatroom 2. Until now, she was still the boss of Wireless Television Limited, the TVB. However, after shooting Chan Xiaochun's version of Dear Cauldron Records, she left Wireless Television Limited. Oh right, Miss Liang, that should be Black Ghost from the East Star. Why did you guys provoke him? Zhou Hao asked. Wang Weiwen looked like he was about to cry. It's a long story. It turned out that after Liang Xiaobing played the part of Qingqing in 1995, the leader of the East Star Alliance, who was also known as Fat Uncle, Fang Bingrun had taken a fancy to her and even threatened to make Liang Xiaobing his woman. In fact, many female celebrities in the entertainment industry could not escape from the unspoken rules circle. Some of the female celebrities were either famous or profit-oriented, and they were even willing to be exposed to the unspoken rules. Many of the female celebrities in the Wireless Television Limited had the experience of being a mistress of a rich family. However, because Liang Xiaobing's uncle, Luo Jiadong, was a member of Hong Kong's Legislative Bureau, both the black and the white faction gave him face. Therefore, Liang Xiaobing had always been very protected. She was fortunate enough to not be disturbed by those wealthy or gang leaders. But 3 years ago, Liang Xiaobing's uncle, Luo Jiadong, died because of liver cancer and lost his biggest backer. Liang Xiaobing's situation became dangerous. Luckily, Luo Jiadong died. Many of his old friends were people with connections. With them protecting Liang Xiaobing, a few years passed peacefully. During this period of time, Luo Jiadong's old friends were afraid that the policies on the mainland would make Hong Kong's society unstable. So many of them left Hong Kong one after another. Without these protections, Liang Xiaobing gradually became like a sheep without any ability to resist, exposed to the wolves who were coveting her. Fang Bingrun was still brooding over Liang Xiaobing. Previously, he had Luo Jiadong and his friends to help Liang Xiaobing. Now that Liang Xiaobing no longer had any backing, he began to show his demonic claws to Liang Xiaobing. Before this, Fang Bingrun had launched an attack on Liang Xiaobing with money. He did not hesitate to give her a luxury car and a mansion. If it were any other female artiste, she would have already thrown herself into his arms. However, Liang Xiaobing had returned all the expensive gifts to Fang Bingrun and had repeatedly rejected his invitation. As the leader of the union, Fang Bingrun was repeatedly rejected by a woman. Naturally, he would not be able to face her. Therefore, when Liang Xiaobing and the manager, Wang Weiwen, went out for a walk tonight, they ran into Black Ghost and the others sent by Fang Bingrun. If Zhou Hao had not happened to pass by and lent her a hand, Liang Xiaobing would have been kidnapped by Black Ghost and the others to Fang Bingrun's place. That Fang Bingrun is already in his 50s, and he is over 1.6 meters tall, but he weighs more than 200 pounds. Wang Weiwen said, also, I heard that he also has sexual abuse tendencies. Many of the female stars that he has kept as his mistress have been tortured by him to an unbearable degree. If we, Xiaobing, were to follow her, wouldn't it be like jumping into a fire pit? Zhou Hao nodded and said in a low voice, actually, in the entertainment industry, many female artists have to go through some people to have a chance to get promoted. And the best way to get help from those people is to make use of your own physical capital. These are indeed the truth, but we, Xiaobing, are definitely not such people. Wang Weiwen said coldly. We, Xiaobing, truly love acting. She is not like those women. Not only is she unclean and self-loving, but she also has a clear price for herself. If we, Xiaobing, are that kind of person, based on her conditions, how could it be at this level? Zhou Hao agreed with Wang Weiwen's words. Liang Xiaobing's beauty was not inferior to any other female artiste. Especially the temperament on her body, it was very attractive to any man. If she was like other female artistes who would do anything for fame and fortune, using her own body to obtain other people's help, it would not be to this extent. Our family doesn't dare to return now. Fang Bingruin's people might have already blocked us there. Wang Weiwen said, Do you live together? Zhou Hao asked curiously. Liang Xiaobing shook her head. Weiwen and I are neighbors. Also, Fang Bingrun will probably send people to the set to find us. Wang Weiwen looked a little desperate. As long as we are in Hong Kong, we will not be able to escape from him. Most of what he said was the truth. It had happened before. Some gang leaders would send people to the film set to look for the star in order to get the star to film the scenes they had invested in. They would even point their guns at his forehead to threaten him to give in. Zhou Hao also knew that the entertainment circle in Hong Kong had been deeply infiltrated by gangs. Furthermore, the biggest movie companies and record distribution companies in Hong Kong were also run by gangs. The entertainment industry was a battlefield for fame and fortune, and it was also a golden paradise for the gangs to launder. The gangs used the method of investing in movies to launder money. They were both able to obtain high box office returns without anyone noticing. To the gangs, it was naturally a good thing to kill two birds with one stone. And many gang bosses had the hobby of keeping female celebrities. Firstly, with their ability, many female celebrities were willing to throw themselves into their arms. Secondly, the more famous a female celebrity was, the more face the gang leader would have. There were also some difficult female celebrities who were also the targets of those gang leaders. As the saying went, the harder it was to get a man, the more they wanted him. Just like Liang Xiaobing, because she had the protection of Luo Jiadong previously, those gang leaders had never been able to get their hands on her. That was why Fang Bingrun was so determined to get Liang Xiaobing. Mr. Zhou, I want to ask, what kind of work do you do? Why have I never heard of your name? Wang Weiwen asked. Zhou Hao laughed when he heard that. Haha, actually, I just came to Hong Kong. I do some investment business. After listening to Zhou Hao's explanation, Wang Weiwen and Liang Xiaobing both looked disappointed because they thought Zhou Hao was not strong enough. Furthermore, he was not a local in Hong Kong, so he could not fight Fang Bingrun at all. Seeing Liang Xiaobing and Wang Weiwen's expressions, Zhou Hao could guess what they were thinking, but he did not explain anything. He just smiled and said, "How about this, Miss Liang? I'll bring you to see a friend tomorrow. Before that, you guys can stay here. Don't worry about Fang Bingrun for the time being." As it was late at night, Zhou Hao arranged Liang Xiaobing and Wang Weiwen to their respective guest rooms so that they could rest early. There were many new undergarments and pajamas here, so Zhou Hao gave a set of clean clothes to Wang Weiwen. "Mr. Wang, these are all new. You can use them without worry. I will leave them here." After saying that, Zhou Hao put the clothes on the stool beside the closet. Wang Weiwen approached Zhou Hao with a warm smile on his face. "Zhou Hao, do you have a girlfriend?" As he spoke, he took the opportunity to put his hand on Zhou Hao's shoulder and chest. As soon as he touched the tough muscles under Zhou Hao's clothes, Wang Weiwen's heart was moved. He could not help but say, Zhou Hao, your figure is good. Oh right, your skills are so good. Don't you practice martial arts often? TSK, your muscles are really strong. They look much better than those male models." He lifted Zhou Hao's sleeve and excitedly stroked Zhou Hao's strong second and third head muscles. If the other party was a woman, Zhou Hao would be happy to enjoy it. But this Wang Weiwen in front of him was obviously gay. Even though Zhou Hao did not have the habit of discriminating against homosexuals, but he also felt a wave of fear. He forced a smile and said, I already have a girlfriend. Also, Mr. Wang. Just call me Weiwen, or call my English name Angelina." Wang Weiwen leaned on Zhou Hao's shoulder, his long eyelashes fanning at Zhou Hao. If he was a woman, his eyes would be quite charming. Weiwen. Zhou Hao swallowed his saliva. He could not call out Wang Weiwen's English name, which was too tasteless. "Actually, Weiwen, I really have no other meaning, but what I want to tell you is that I am a normal man. Do you understand?" Zhou Hao knew that people like Wang Weiwen were more sensitive than ordinary women. He was afraid that he would provoke Wang Weiwen, so he was very careful. Although Wang Weiwen's face was filled with disappointment after hearing Zhou Hao's words, he did not have any excessive reaction, which made Zhou Hao feel slightly relieved. He quickly said, "It's late. You should get some rest. We will have breakfast together tomorrow." Without waiting for Wang Weiwen's reply, he ran out of the room and closed the door. Zhou. Annoying. Wang Weiwen wanted to stop Zhou Hao, but when he saw Zhou Hao decisively close the door, he could only angrily stomp his feet. Then he turned around and threw himself on the bed. His shaking legs kept hitting the mattress, and he kept complaining. "I hate you so much. I hate you so much." On the other side of the room, Su Lin also brought a set of clean clothes to Liang Xiaobing's guest room. "Miss Liang, I brought you a change of clothes." Liang Xiaobing was standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling window in the room and looking out at the night view of Victoria Port. When she heard Su Lin's voice, she immediately turned around and smiled at her. "Thank you, Miss Su. You are welcome." Su Lin smiled and nodded. "If you need anything, call me at any time. My room is next door." She wanted to turn around and leave as she spoke. Miss Su, wait. Liang Xiaobing hurriedly called Su Lin to stop. Su Lin asked doubtfully, Miss Liang, is there anything else?
Yes.
Liang Xiaobing nodded slightly, but there was some hesitation on her face. There are some things that I want to talk to you about. No problem. If there is anything, just say it. Hence, Liang Xiaobing pulled Su Lin to the sofa over there and sat down. Liang Xiaobing looked at Su Lin and spoke a few times, but she stopped herself a few times. In the end, it was Su Lin who revealed a smile. If you don't mind, I will call you Xiaobing. You can also call me Su Lin, okay? Seeing Liang Xiaobing nod her head, Su Lin said again, although we just met today, if Xiaobing trusts me, then tell me the questions in your heart. Seeing the beautiful and sincere smile on Su Lin's face, Liang Xiaobing's heart unconsciously relaxed. She only heard her say, Su Lin, I want to ask you. That Zhou. What kind of person is Mr. Zhou? Liang Xiaobing looked at Liang Xiaobing's worried expression and suddenly laughed. Xiaobing, don't tell me you think that Zhou Hao helping you guys has a different purpose? You suspect that he has ulterior motives towards you? Seeing Liang Xiaobing's stunned face, Su Lin knew that she guessed correctly. The smile on her face immediately disappeared as she stared straight at Liang Xiaobing. Miss Liang, don't you think that doubting someone who sincerely helps you is a very shameful act? The way she addressed Liang Xiaobing had changed back to Miss Liang. The distance between the two of them instantly became much further. Seeing the deep anger in Su Lin's eyes, Liang Xiaobing was also somewhat afraid and hurriedly explained, Su Lin, I don't have any other intentions. Don't misunderstand. But she saw Su Lin sneer and said, Miss Liang, I can tell you, Zhou Hao is definitely not one of those hedonistic sons you knew in the past. Those second-generation grandsons who only rely on their family can't compare to Zhou Hao at all. Let me tell you, Zhou Hao is the best man in the world. You can hate him, but I hope you won't insult him. Su Lin's appearance actually gave Liang Xiaobing a scare. Originally, she only thought that Su Lin was Zhou Hao's secretary. Now it seemed that at least in Su Lin's heart, Zhou Hao's position was very important. Hearing Su Lin's words, she sighed slightly. Su Lin, actually, you don't have to blame me. After all, in this circle, I have to be careful. In the past, there were many people who harassed me. If it wasn't for my uncle's relationship, I would probably have become their plaything like other female artistes. Liang Xiaobing's originally bright and sparkling eyes were now filled with a desolate look that seemed to see through the world. It was a bit of self-pity. Seeing Liang Xiaobing's sad and self-pity expression, Su Lin also felt some sympathy for her, although she was not clear about their circle. But Su Lin also knew that many female celebrities were all in front of others and had good manners. A sore spot was not worth mentioning to outsiders. She suppressed the anger in her heart and held Liang Xiaobing's hand as she gently said, Xiaobing, trust me. Zhou Hao is not the kind of person you think he is. I better tell you, Zhou Hao already has a girlfriend. Their relationship is also very good. Su Lin thought in her heart, if Zhou Hao is that kind of playboy, it would be good. Maybe I can. But just as this thought arose in her mind, she shook her head and wanted it. She wanted to throw these thoughts out of her mind. Rulin is my good sister. How can I think that way? Liang Xiaobing, who was at the side, naturally did not know about Su Lin's complicated thoughts, and she said, by the way, Zhou Hao said that you guys just came from the country. Is Zhou Hao's family very rich? I remember that this villa seems to be owned by a wealthy businessman, but he seems to have migrated. Su Lin smiled slightly. It's not that Zhou Hao's family is very rich, it's just that he is very rich. You do not know how powerful he is. Hence, Su Lin told Liang Xiaobing about Zhou Hao's investment in the stock and futures markets. Her words were filled with strong pride, even more than her own achievement. When Liang Xiaobing heard Su Lin's explanation, she was also shocked, especially when she knew that Zhou Hao had invested less than half a year into the stock market and had already turned his funds into more than $1 billion. She was even more shocked in her heart. Furthermore, Zhou Hao was not as rude and arrogant as the upstart. He was even as cute and friendly as the boy next door. Gradually, Liang Xiaobing became curious about that young and handsome man and asked Su Lin, "Oh right, you said that his relationship with his girlfriend was very good. Why didn't he come to Hong Kong with her this time?" Actually, he thought so too. It's just that Rulin couldn't let go of her work, so she didn't come. How did he and his girlfriend get to know each other? I am not sure about that. Rulin did not mention it to me either. Su Lin tilted her head and said, but Zhou Hao treats Rulin very well. He told Liang Xiaobing how Zhou Hao rescued Li Rulin from Liang Fengshan in Yangzhou. Liang Xiaobing heard the whole story from Su Lin's vivid description and smiled excitedly. So romantic. This is the real version of hero saving the beauty. She did not expect Zhou Hao to be so powerful that he was not even afraid of the young master of the governor. Although Hong Kong had not returned yet, Liang Xiaobing knew how powerful the power of a governor was. As they chatted, the two girls became closer and closer. Su Lin told Liang Xiaobing about many things in the country, and Liang Xiaobing also told Su Lin about the bitterness and interesting things in her acting career. What? You are only 22 years old this year? After hearing Liang Xiaobing's real age, Su Lin said in surprise. But didn't the people outside say that you were born in 69 years? If that's the case, then weren't you only 16 years old when you participated in the Hong Kong Miss competition? Liang Xiaobing smiled and nodded. Back then, those staff members said that if I were to reveal my true age, my popularity would decrease, so they told me to add a few more years. No wonder. I saw that you were almost 30 years old, but why are you still in your early 20s? I wanted to ask you how you took care of yourself. So you are so young. Su Lin smiled. Liang Xiaobing put her finger on Su Lin's lips. This is my secret. Don't tell anyone else. Other than my parents, only Wei Wen knows. Su Lin nodded and suddenly saw that the clock on the wall was already pointing at a point. Then she said in shock, "Ah, so it is already so late. Then I will not disturb you anymore. I'll be going back first. If there's anything you need, come and find me." Yes, thank you, Su Lin. Liang Xiaobing smiled from the bottom of her heart. Do you like this video? Let me know in the comments below. And remember to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to stay updated. See you soon.